All right. Okay, that camera's looking awful. Mm. Yeah, no one's watching this right now, so I could fix this. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Damn it, I don't care if no one's here. We ain't dealing with no damn. Now that's better. Should have did that earlier. Anyone that's gonna jump in later on? Oh, we got one person here. What is happening? But anyone who's gonna, check this out, couple minutes late because usually with when I do the live streams, I usually just go on a whim, like I just create the stream without scheduling it. So this is my first time actually pre-scheduling a stream without just creating it and going straight live. So I had to figure out how do I actually, go live because it doesn't just, automatically go live. You gotta do all this other stuff. Anyways, we're gonna do this is the end of the year reads for all the signs. Aries through Pisces, right? Per usual, we're gonna start with the first sign and then we go to the last sign. What I'm going to do here with these readings, this reading, is we're going to focus on the south node, which is what you need to move away from, pretty much something that needs to be left behind in 2025, and maybe even a message that you can relate to that should have been left behind prior to that. But going into this new year, definitely you want to make sure you're not carrying that same energy, that same mindset, whatever message you might get. That is the south node. North node being the opposite, where you need to move toward more. So, maybe a mindset again, of behavior, an action. It could be people. It could be types of people. Um, Whatever the case is, that's what you need to move toward, and that will be the north node. And then final message would just be anything, maybe a double confirmation of maybe the south node or the north node, or just any other message that needs to be said, that your spirit team wants you to know going into 2026 and just at this time in general. So, again, we're going to do that for all of the signs. Without further ado, we're going to start with the sign of Aries. And like with always, because I'm a one-man army over here, I'm the one that's going to be putting the timestamps together. Once the live is over, I will update them. First and foremost, happy Christmas Eve for all the folks out there who celebrate Christmas, and happy holidays in general. Merry Christmas if you're watching this tomorrow. Greatly appreciated. If you're brand new here, um, subscribe. I'm getting an influx of subscribers, which is great to know, great to see, honestly. um, so thanks for all those who've been subscribing, rocking with me throughout the year, all that stuff. I'll save the all the sappy things stuff at the end of the stream, of course. um but again, we're starting with Aries, and we're starting with the south node, what you need to move away from, essentially. Your first card here, we have three that's spilled out. If we get more, we get more. You start off with the three of swords in reverse, which is good. This is healing. It's not saying to get away from healing per se, right? I think this is more so of a message of getting away from allowing maybe insecurity to stop the healing process, like allowing yourself to actually be comfortable with not knowing what is next. Um i, I say that because you have the three of wands in reverse, which is someone who can be very much frustrated because of lack of foresight. And probably this year for you, Aries, or just previous years as well, you've been somebody who have dealt with heartbreak. And sure, it may have been the heartbreak of losing a loved one or ending a relationship, But I think a lot of the heartbreak has been, or at least the heartbreak that's being described here, has to do with you having expectations and then you not knowing what is, what's to happen, and then you having these expectations in your mind, and because you because these thoughts, these wants, even these desires either didn't pan out, or they didn't pan out as fast, or or exactly how you wanted them to. You were in a state of like heartbreak, like it was for you, in a way where it's like it wasn't exactly how I wanted it to be, so therefore it sucks. And I think, what the universe is telling you, just alone with these first two cards, is, what you need to get away from, going into the next year, is to get away from the mindset of, again, of having that frustration, and, breaking your own heart, essentially, because, things aren't moving in the pace that you wanted to move in. Things didn't pan out exactly how you wanted them to pan out, you know? Because even if you're in moments of where you're just, looking into the future, but not necessarily knowing what's to come, you're still being encouraged with the Knight of Swords to keep going, to be assertive, yeah, for sure, to keep going, and to keep having that belief. I would say, keep having that belief that things will get better, things will work out. So again, just to repeat, just the what I'm seeing here as far as the South Node goes for you, Aries, um, it's to, going into 2026. I'm gonna say, like, be more. Don't allow the unknown to frustrate you more, to break your heart. You know, let go of that. Essentially, let go of this idea that if it's not how it's supposed to, like how you had it in your head, or whatever the case is, that it's a failed situation, that it's a terrible situation, of whatever the case is, right? It's, it's a bad situation, essentially. I was just shuffling for your North Node, what you need to be more, uh more focused on going into the new year. And I'm going to say right now, I feel as though you're getting a couple messages in regards to your finances. Number one, you need to be more patient when it comes to your money, right? And you need to be less greedy. Now, I know and I say that because you have these two cards. All right. This is impatience and this is greed, essentially, right? And the reason why I say this, and I know I showed you the reason, but what I want to say is, I know it's hard right now. We all and then need some money. I start a new job in February, right? I was hoping to start this year, around this time, but the money is going to come in for me until February, and it's going to be late February at that, y'all. So it's like, I'm in a situation right now, Aries. So I feel you, but I'm in a situation right now where I'm having to wait for, some money to come in. I'm doing what I can now to make, some money now, right? And, speaking of that, as you can see with the pinned comment, um, I'll have that in the pinned comment, after the live stream as well. But if you are interested in getting a personal read, just to prevent from people from asking any personalized questions during this live stream, there you go. It's a pay with however you feel. It could be $1, it could be 10, it could be 100, it could be 1,000, whatever the case is. Pay what you feel you want to pay for that personalized read, and that deal is running until the first, so the New Year's Day, essentially. So, you want to capitalize on that, capitalize on it. If not, then, you know Prices for personal reads after that will go back up to their regular prices, which is $11 for the text style of reads and $77 for video reads. Okay. Just had to announce that since we're already talking about money. But again, as far as you, Aries, I'm getting the sense that, again, stop being impatient and stop being greedy, and you have the death card as your last card as far as what the north nodes is telling you. um, this is a releasing of all that, a releasing of just pretty much your mindset on when it comes to your finances. I'm seeing here pretty much a releasing, like I said, of just that lack mentality is what is messing up your finances. Now, I'm not saying pretend or tell yourself that you have all the money in the world, but I get the sense, Aries, that and and I'm not Aries, but I can relate to this situation as well. This is why I'm speaking from experience here. But I get the sense that you are saying to yourself, and and I'm sure it's true, but you're saying to yourself, I can't do X, Y, and Z because I don't have the money to do it. Like, I have all these plans, but I don't have the money to even do these things. And I get that. But there are some things that cost very little money, or in fact, that you can do for free. You can get done for free. It just takes a lot of work on your end. Again, going back to the Knight of Swords, someone who is very much determined, assertive to make things happen. It just takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of, and I'm saying a lot, but honestly, when you do it for some time, it's not a lot. It doesn't really take a lot. It just takes the bulk of the work comes from the mindset, not necessarily the actual work of, okay, I found out how I was able to accomplish these things without having to have a whole lot of money, to not having a big, financial backing or whatever the case is, right? It comes from shifting your mind and constantly thinking. That's where the real work comes from, is when you start shifting your mind from somebody who is constantly in this mindset of, I don't have the money and therefore I can't accomplish anything, to, sure, I have I might not have the money that I wish I had right now, but I can still get this thing done. And here's how. That's real when the real work happens. That's when, that's the mindset. Um, that's the stuff that takes the time, not the actual work. All right. So, like I said, we did South Node, we did North Node. Any other final message that the universe, your spirit team, has for you, Aries? Let's see that. And then I am doing oracles, so I will pull an oracle after that, after this, and then we'll see what's what. But what jumped out is temperance, moderation, patience, balance, essentially, right? It could be a message of balancing pretty much faith with work. Don't be so in your head to the point where you're constantly just wishing on a star, wishing for things to come to you, waiting around and hoping things will just fall into your lap. But also learn to rest when you need to. We'll see what the oracle says. I don't see any other cards representing that. Of course, again, you had that Knight of Swords that showed up. This is very much, the opposite of someone who is resting. But again, as I was stating before, this is what you need when you are in a state of impatience, or when you're in a state of um fearing that things won't work out for you, or I can't do this because I don't have the money, I don't have this, I don't have that. There are ways to make things happen, you know what I'm saying? um Hi, my name is Hamida. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. And my partner name is Arbaz of Laws. Please tell me his feelings. I knew I was going to get a question like this. Appreciate you for commenting. Appreciate you for yeah, tuning in. But I don't know if you can see the pinned tweet. I mean, not tweet, pinned comment. Pretty much, if you want a personalized reading, I am doing personalized reads. Um, and you have to hit the link to schedule one and shoot me an email with any questions. I will not do the reads here. But as the pin tweet says, that's that's how you can get that question answered. But honestly, again, also a question like that, to be honest with you, Hamida, um, and again, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. A question like that, I'm no fortune teller. I'm just here to read the cards. If you're asking how he personally feels, I think that's a question best asked to him. I'm sorry that you are going through a breakup. Um, I've been there. It sucks. Sometimes it doesn't suck, to be honest with you, depending on the person. But it sounds like you truly don't want this to happen, and I've been there, so I feel that. But it just seems like, if personally speaking, it seems like that's something that you and this individual should speak about and see how they feel. I can't, I'm not him, or I'm not them, whoever they are, so I can't tell you how they feel. All I can do is give you a reading on the situation. Again, the best way possible is for you to check out what the pin comment is saying. Um, I'm doing the deal right now, and the deal ends January 1st. And then shoot me any questions. You can ask this question or any other question uh, via Gmail. Okay. But hopefully your situation, going into a new year, a breakup before the new year's begins is, I don't know if that's ever happened to me. But it sucks either or. Before the new year, during the new year, 6 months into a new year. I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully things work out in your favor. But don't, my last bit of advice would be like, don't dwell on it too much. If it doesn't, it just was something that needed to end, to be honest with you, especially with this year being a year of completion, 2025, a non-year, non being the number of completion. It was not to seem insensitive, but it just probably was a situation that needed to end. All right. But as far as Aries, speaking of endings, I'm about to end y'all's reading here. This is the Oracle card we have. All right, for the Aries, Eclipse of Concealment. Navigate through the eclipse of concealment, understanding the cyclical, not cynical, but cyclical nature of hidden phases and awaiting revelations. So that's what I have for the sign of Aries. Appreciate y'all for watching again. Once I am done, I will once I'm done with the live stream, I will work on the timestamps, updating the timestamps for the playback. So if you've missed your sign, or if you want to watch for any other sign, or whatever the case is, you are able to do that. But right now, we are on to Taurus, my moon sign, my moon babies. This is for you. So if you got Taurus in your chart, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you. And as I stated right at the beginning of this stream, I'm doing South Node, North Node, any other message that your spirit team wants you to know, and then the Oracle, as you just saw, the Oracle card. So we start with the South Node, pretty much what you need to let go, what you should not bring into your life in 2026. Now, I know I said in like a read a couple months ago, I was gonna try to stop telling people what they should and shouldn't do. It's your choice at the end of the day. Even if I slip up and I say should and I shouldn't say should, but again, if this is the message of the South Node is what should be left behind or what is to be left behind, then yeah, you can get upset at my language, but I'm trying to help you out. It's not here to try to trip you up about none. And I'm just literally just trying to help you out here. All right. Doing anything that I can, trying to do God's work. All right. Anyways, we start off with the hangman in reverse, which I call the standing man. All right. And in all actuality, what I'm seeing here for Taurus, what you need to leave behind is I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. I'm seeing laziness. Um, Maybe it's laziness due to, and it's not even just this card. I'll get into the other cards that showed up for you, but I think it's laziness probably due to you being too much in your head, meaning too much of someone who is, you know, fantasy minded. You know, too much like you're thinking too much about the goals that you have, and it's great to be lost. Like I know, trust me, it's great to be like lost in your thoughts and your goals and these big dreams, but they're not going to happen if you don't put in the work. It's not going to happen if you don't put in the work. You know, your next card is, and I got to cover up the bottom part because private parts, but it's the devil. It's the devil in reverse, which is great to see. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should allow the devil to take you, take care to take hold of you in 2026 and going forward. No, what I'm saying is whatever devilish thoughts, whatever, even the devil that may have been in your life, maybe the individual who has you in a state of being lazy, um that person, and the devil did show up in reverse, so it is showing signs that you are someone who is letting go of the shackles, or you're freeing yourself from this person or this mindset. But what also came in reverse is the world in reverse, only covering it because naked bodies in YouTube, right? So as I was stating before, you're probably someone who is too much in your mind when it comes to your dreams and goals, which again, envisioning these things and wanting things is great, but also you need to put in that work. You need to put in that work. And maybe the devil in this situation is the the fantasy. It could be the fantasy of it all, right? This is also the card of cutting corners. To like, their world in reverse is someone who tries to achieve a shortcut to get what they want instead of playing the, I don't want to say playing the long game, but I want to say letting things take its course. That's how I'm going to put it, instead of playing the long game, because it might not be a long situation, but it might be one that just takes its course. And taking its course could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year, it could be anything shorter than that. But you know, the world in reverse, someone is it, like I said, is also the card of someone who is cutting corners, and maybe that's what you've been doing all year and what you've probably been doing in the previous year as well, as to why the universe is telling you to dead that going into 2026. Like the reason, probably the reason as to why you aren't at the level that you envisioned for yourself isn't just this aspect of standing around and doing nothing about it. That could be part of it, but it also could be parts due to when you do try to do something about it, you don't necessarily do it in the most thorough, accurate way possible. You try to do it in a more, bite size, easiest, maybe even way. And well, whatever grand plans that you have in the world is, the world is it's grand plans. Not everyone has the same grand plan. So obviously what the world represents to you may be different from what the world represents for someone else, even if it's another Taurus, right? But these aren't just plans you can just slip and slide your way in and out of. It's what I'm trying to tell you. These aren't just plans where it's like, oh, I don't know, let me try to think of something that's like easy and someone could just, it seems as though they can like slip into. I don't know. If I think of something, I'm gonna say it, and then someone's gonna get offended by it and say, "Well, it's not that easy," and all that. So let me not go there. But it's not as easy as something like that, where it's like, think of anything you could think of something, right? So they can get mad at you instead of mad at me, right? But you think of something like, I don't know, like getting a job at a fast food restaurant, maybe. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but maybe that you're like, that's super easy or whatever the case is, right? And you're like, all you have to do is apply to it. Like there's no other work that needs to be done for it. You can be in high school and work fast food. You can have a high school diploma and work in fast food. I believe you can have a GED. So it's not like you have to go to college. And essentially, it's not like you have to have your doctorate in, whatever, right? You have to go to school for X amount of years, or, higher learning, higher ed for X amount of years to do that, you know? Um, but you're like, whatever your plans are, it's much bigger than trying to get a job at a fast food restaurant is what I'm saying. Which means you have to put in the appropriate amount of time and work for you to achieve these things. And again, what the message that I'm seeing here is, if we're going with the aspect of the cutting corners, you've been somebody who's been trying to find the easy route to achieve these things that isn't as easy as just applying to a fast food restaurant. And you need to let that ish go going into 2026 if you want these dreams to happen for you. I think ultimately that, and again this stagnancy, are the reasons as to why things haven't panned out for you this year or even previous years. It's not that you can't do it. It's not that it's not meant for you. It's you're not actually doing what you need to do as far as putting in the right amount of effort, going in the right, maybe putting in the right amount of work, which, effort, same thing, into whatever, these dreams are. So that was the South Node, pretty much letting go of that. And again, we have that devil in reverse here. So that to me tells me you, at least, maybe even after watching this, but there's something that tells me that you've probably realized that, Taurus, prior to maybe even reading this, getting this message, the way you've been moving, maybe this year, and again, maybe in previous years, it hasn't been conducive to your dreams. It's just been conducive to the lack of movement within your career, within your dreams, within your life in general. So there is that. Before I get into your North Node, let me read this message here. I am truly grateful for all of your work and guidance. Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Don't start making me cry now. I really appreciate that, though. I really do. And happy holidays to you and yours, for sure. Yeah, hopefully I can continue giving you guidance throughout the new year and going forward. Um, we're still on the I was gonna call y'all terrorists. Y'all not some terrorists, Taurus, Taurus the terrorists, but nah. We're still on to Taurus. We're North Node. What you need to move toward more. Nothing else is really jumping out, but you did. Let me just go with this first one. You do have the Hermit in reverse that jumped out. So being less of an introvert is what I'm going to say. Be more so outward. Be put yourself out there. Again, that could be part of the work that you was avoiding. And Tauruses aren't really known for being introverted. You know what I'm saying? And unless you are like you have like a Virgo plate, like if you're a Virgo and a Taurus, like a Virgo sun maybe or a Virgo moon, you know, and you have Virgo and Taurus placements, that's where the introversion and extroversion clashes. But I see that this introversion, I'm not saying befriend everybody, but this introversion could have been part of the work that you should have been doing this year, and again previous years that you wasn't doing, putting yourself out there more. It seems this could be a message for me. Hell, I'm like I said, Taurus moon, but putting yourself out there more. So that's going into 2026. That's at least one of the messages we're getting here. But let's see what else we get as far as the North Node goes, because that's the only one that jumped out. What does Taurus need to do going forward? All right, now we got some stuff coming out. All right, we do have the Tower. And this is pretty much self-explanatory for me, Taurus. Letting things end when they need when it's time for it to end. Yeah, I think that throughout, and I can tell from the Tauruses that I know, the Taurus sons that I know, um, they have a huge problem with letting shit go. Letting things go that they don't want to end. Now, I know a lot of people have that issue, but I'm speaking specifically about Taurus right now. And this reminds me so much of the Tauruses that are coming to mind. When they don't want something to end, they're not going to allow it to end, whether that be friendships, business partnerships, personal relationships, anything of that matter. It could be a vacation. And it's like, yo, people want to go home right now. You know what I'm saying? We spent a week at Disneyland. We don't want to be here anymore. We're trying to leave, and you the only one trying to force everybody to stay. No, we're done. We're trying to go back to reality. We got bills to pay. You want to stay here, go ahead, but don't force us all to do this. You know what I'm saying? I think Tauruses have a they can be stubborn when, you know what I'm saying? They can be very much stubborn. And going into 2026, I feel as though, and I said this during your last read, Taurus, if you want to maintain relationships, again, personal relationships, whatever the caliber of them are, romantic, whatever they are, if you want to maintain these relationships, you're gonna have to allow people to have their say in that relationship. That's number one. And two, you're gonna have to understand when things need to end. It's no mark on you. It's kind of crazy because I was just saying that to what's their name? Hameda. I don't know if you're still watching, but I don't know if you're a Taurus either. But it's pretty much the same thing. Like when things we understand that breakups or just endings in general can be very much horrible. But when it's time to end, it's time to end. And that's just a part of life. It's what we signed up for as souls when we decided to come here on this earth and have a physical being. We signed up for heartbreak. We signed up for endings happening. I know that's going to sound crazy to some folks. Why would I want to go through these things? It's a part of life. It's a part of having a human existence. It's how we learn. It's how we grow better. It's how we strengthen ourselves. You know, if you didn't go through any of this hardship, endings, things never ended for you. If you was constantly at Disney, and now I know there are probably people out there who love Disney World or whatever the case is. And they're like, I never wanted to end. I always want to be here. It's going to be a point in time you're sick of seeing Mickey and Minnie and all the princesses. You're lying to yourself. And you're saying that's not the reason why places like Disney or just all these other spots are so special is because they're expensive as hell. And because you don't have the money to go there every year, it's a big deal to some folk. Maybe not you or me, because it isn't for me. But like it's a big deal to go to these spots because it's expensive as hell. So you don't always have the money or the time to even go to these places. But it's a situation where it's like it's so special. It's this. It could be a bunch of other things. It could be nostalgia, be it based on your childhood, maybe some other reasons as well. Maybe you bonded via you're with somebody via a character or a movie, or anything, right? But these things hold special meaning because we don't always get to see experience them. That's what makes them special, is what I'm trying to say here. You know? So yeah, when things end, it's not to just do away with the entire situation. You can hold on to the memories. But when things end, because you don't want, you know, excuse me, you don't want, it's like when things end, it doesn't mean the memories can just go away. Like there are memories that you have right now with people that are no longer in your life, whether it's because they're deceased or maybe you all separated, right? Simply because they're no longer in, and vice versa. Simply because you're no longer in their life, they don't have those memories anymore. If they're still alive, right? You know, who's to say there are not times where they're reflecting on that moment they've had with you? That's what make these situations special. But every endings happen, and then every ending needs an end. And going based on again the North Node, as in regards to your message here, Taurus. Again, we started off with that Hermit in reverse. So going into 2026, and you could choose to practice these things. I'm doing the end of the year reading now because I won't have time to do it like New Year's Eve or something like that, right? I know for sure I won't have the time because I'm going to be with family that day. So I won't have the time to do it. So I'm doing it now. That's number one. Number two, you don't have to wait until New Year's Eve or the exact New Year to practice what I'm saying here. And this goes for all the signs, not just Taurus, right? Um, but it's your choice. It's your choice. Just like it's your choice if you want to listen or not. If you're like, I don't want things to end and I'm not going to listen to him, I'm never going to leave Disney World. All right, don't leave Disney's World. But also don't hit me up when things start to get boring. Because I'm going to be like I told you. So I'm going to point you back to this live stream. I'm going to point you back to the reads I did and be like I told you. So yeah, I'm going to be as blunt as that. It is what it is. All right. I'm super curious to see what the fuck Virgo's gonna say. I ain't gonna skip the Virgo yet, but yeah, I'm feeling real blunt. It may have been the nap I had before earlier, y'all. So maybe I'm that wired up. But the last card that we have as far as the North Node goes for the ace, for the aces. All right, ace Tauruses. I messed up your names twice already. I first called y'all Terrace. My apologies. Now I'm calling y'all aces. But we have the ace of swords in reverse here. This can be animosity, this could be cruelty, this could also be the card of confusion, or just cruelty because of confusion, which no one likes to be confused. So I understand why one would be in a state of maybe cruelty. But I'm not saying you should be more cruel. I think as far as the North Node goes, I kind of want to clarify. Let's Before I even get to making assumptions, clarify that Ace of Swords, please. Clarify that Ace of Swords. And something fell out. God. Y'all know when y'all just work out. I worked out yesterday and my body's. Yeah. Anyway. So when I asked for a clarification of the Ace of Swords, the Five of Wands showed up, which is pretty much conflict. Maybe it's frustration due to, honestly, this is what I see now. I'm glad I asked for that clarification. Taurus, I'm seeing where the animosity is coming from in regards to probably this year and previous years, is because I don't think you've been, in order to try to save face or try to keep the peace, you've been shutting your mouth instead of actually speaking your truth. That could be why the Hermit is here, even though it's in reverse as well. it could be why it's here. It's you need to be more so truthful about how how you feel, how just truthful in general, right? That could be it too as to why the hermit showed up here. But don't be afraid of conflict is what I'm trying to tell you. Now I'm not telling you to go around and start fights and beating people with sticks, but stop shying away from the conflict to keep the peace. As to why the tower is here, because you're too much, you're being told that if people are not satisfied with you speaking your mind, if they have a problem with it, so be it. Let that relationship die. And you may have been against somebody who has not allowed that to happen because, again, you want to keep the peace. You want to keep these relationships. Well, they had their time. Again, not to try to sound at the be insensitive. It sounds like I don't care about your situation, but I also can't sit here and pretend like I don't want what's best for you. And what's best for you, if it means that that relationship has to end, it has to end. It might suck, that friendship, that 14-year long friendship, that 4-year long business partner, that 10-year long relationship, that whatever the case is, it has to end. Because it's either you continue to shut your mouth, not speak your truth, not be yourself, and continue having this animosity to you about yourself, and like you're probably like, and part of this animosity is coming and the confusion is coming from because you're like, why am I frustrated? Well, I think we figured out why, Taurus. If you've been wondering, if you've been frustrated as of lately, right? And you just couldn't put your finger onto it, I think we've cracked the code. It's because you have been shutting your mouth. Your jaws and your mouth may have been really tense and all this. You've been grinding your teeth because that's what happens when people, especially with me, but what happens when people don't necessarily speak their mind, they get a lot of tension in the jaw, even in the neck area, and that tension can spread throughout the body. You know, I'm no doctor. Get professional estimates, but I would not be surprised if your professional estimate came back. It was like it's stress, and it's stress because you're not actually speaking your mind. It might seem very little to you, but something as little as you not speaking your mind can cause a whole bunch, can snowball into a whole bunch of other stuff, physical and mental anguish that you really don't want going into the new year, especially. So, take whatever message really resonates, especially with this North Node, because I feel as though I gave you like two messages within the North Node at least. The South Node again was the message of stop cutting corners for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve and actually put that work into it. I think that was pretty much self-explanatory. Part of why you may not be where you are within your career goals right now is because you've been cutting corners, and the type of work and the type of dreams that you have entail you to be full throttle into it, not cutting. It's not something that can be achieved by simply cutting corners. That's not the goals that you have. If you wanted those type of goals, then I think that's would have been the life that was designed for you. All right. Any last message that we have in regards for the tarot for my moon babies, Taurus? We have the King of Pentacles in reverse. Get your finances together. I know at a time like this, it's easier said than done. Trust me, we all feeling it. But you really need to get your finances together going into 2026. I'm no fortune teller, like I tell people all the time. But when these cards show up, if you fall into some financial holes or if you fall deeper into a financial hole, you can't say that I didn't try to warn you. Get your finances together. And this is also the card of someone who is very much shallow. So it could be a situation where you need to let go of any shallow thoughts, maybe about yourself, maybe about other people as well. That shallowness could be the reason as to why there might be a financial situation. Even if you're not in like a bad financial in a bad financial way, it's always good to have your finances like in check. You know what I'm saying? You could be the most wealthiest person ever. How does a person who is very wealthy continue to do that? Well, they don't pay taxes. But aside from them not paying taxes, they have their finances in check. So even the wealthiest of wealthy has their finances in check. So why would someone who is far less wealthier than that individual not want to have a grip on their finances? All right. We're going to get into an oracle card for you, Taurus. Oh, one already jumped out. The same card for Aries. I'm going to give you another one and see what else jumps out. Aries got this card as well. I'll read that. Okay, now you got because I love y'all moon babies. All right, so like I said, you might have Aries in your chart actually because they got this oracle card as well. Eclipse of concealment. I'll read it one more time. Navigate through the eclipse of concealment, understanding the cyclical nature of hidden phases and awaiting revelations. All right. Like I said, and Aries got that card as well. You might have Aries in your chart. Once again, once this live is over, I will have the timestamps updated so you can click through each sign and check for your sun, moon, any other sign that you want to check for. Heck, even if you have a partner or know somebody and you want to read for or check out what something for them and their sign, go right ahead. All right. The second card that you got was Magic Opportunity. That's what I like to see. Embrace the unexpected. Seize the chance for transformation. Yeah, that's what I got for my moon babies, Tauruses out there. Hopefully this read serves you well. Before you go, hit that like, leave a comment if you would like, share this stream out, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. We are now on to, is it Gemini, right? Let me see if I could go from memory. All right, Gemini. I'm getting better at remembering the order of these cards. I mean, these signs. So Gemini starts at this time. What's happening? My princesses. Yes, y'all still getting called princesses. All right. Sun, moon, or rising. This is for you. Like I said, we're going to start with the South Node. We're doing a node, South Node, North Node, any other final tarot messages that your spirit team might have for you. And then the final read for you, at least for the year, would be an oracle card. Okay. So South Node, what you need to move away from going into 2026. This could also, again, be something that you should have left behind in previous years that lingered on to 2025. Okay, I don't understand why. I don't. You need to break up with somebody, but nah. I think what is being told here for you, I'm gonna show you your cards right now, right? Of course, obviously, you have the Two of Cups. Now, this is mutual attraction. This is you being, just you and somebody else having those feelings for one another, right? And this is great. But I do see, I think I see what the message is here now, why this is showing up in your South Node. You also have the Six of Swords here, which is moving on, adapting, and all this other stuff. But I think that you're fearing romantic relationship. You're fearing all types of relationships because not only is it like romantic, but you're fearing like personal relationships as well. Because the Three of Cups showed up, and this is collaboration and teamwork and all that stuff. I think, again, moving forward and going on your own path and journey, or at least flying solo, or it seems in a way where you're just taking a few people along with you as that six of swords is saying, depending on the situation. If the situation is bad, like totally bad, yeah, do away with this stuff. Don't allow the years, don't allow the whatever to get in the way. But I think I'm speaking to number one, a Gemini who has been single, and honestly, it's you've been single, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this the only way that's coming to mind right now. You've been single this year, or for however long you've been single, and you really shouldn't be single. Now, I'm not saying that to toot your horn. I'm saying I feel as though you fumbled somebody. That's what I'm saying. You fumbled a situation because you probably fear, what if something bad happens, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of want to clarify. Let's clarify this reading. Already got something jumping out. It's face down though. So what's the Knight of Pentacles? Ooh, reliable, practical, discipline, but a solo act nonetheless. I think you've fallen into that trap of being too independent. Now you feel as though you don't need a relationship. You don't need friends. All of this upward movement, mobility is great to see, especially again, that Six of Swords, Knight of Pentacles. This is great, but it's like personal relationships is also great as well. You know, we're here to have these relationships with one another. And if you are just gonna fly solo and deny all this, it's your choice at the end of the day. As I say all the time, it's your choice at the end of the day, Gemini. You can probably be like, I'm fine with being by myself. I don't need friends. I don't need a lover to celebrate all this abundance that's happening. You know what I'm saying? I don't need anybody. I just want myself. Okay, but I think the universe is telling you things would be so much sweeter if you had people in your life. Someone that you were mutually attracted to, someone who was into you just as much as you're into them. If you had friends, or at least people that you can collaborate with, you'd probably get a lot more than one pinnacle. But no, you'd probably get a lot more in life if you actually worked with people who are actually down to help you, people with a common goal as you know, you'd probably get a lot more done. You're getting shit done now, which is great. I'm loving all this progression that I'm seeing here for you, Gemini. But I feel as though what the universe is telling you in regards to the South Node message is you to get a lot more done if you allowed people in your life. You'd probably be a lot more happier within the sector of love if you allowed love in your life. You'd probably get a lot more with friends, within your career, if you allowed people to, work with you. Because when I see this, I see somebody who's had their eye on you for some time. I also see people who've had their eye on you in regards of, I would like to work with Gemini. I wish Gemini was on my team. Or I wish I was, friends with Gemini. I wish we can do these things with Gemini. But I also, what I'm also seeing is someone, you, saying, nah, I'm gonna do this by myself. Nah, I don't want you. Or, nah, I'm not gonna get in that relationship. Nah, I'm good over here doing these things, accomplishing these things. Nah, I'm good. I'm seeing a lot of nah, I'm good from you. And you are good, but you'd be a lot better. Why not be better? Why just settle for good? If settling for good is all you want, then sure, continue on in this relationship. And I mean, in this move that you got going on right now, right? But if you want better than good, it seems as though, opening yourself up to love, opening yourself up to just connection in general, whether that be love or not, opening yourself up to connection, it seems as though that's going to be a lot better than good. And I'm not saying the first person you meet that it shows interest in you, you need to lock that down. No, don't be crazy like that. Don't deny it if that person really is somebody special, but don't be dumb and think, well, Ernest told me to be more open to love, and here I am. If that person's not a good fit, they're not a good fit. And same goes with the friends. Don't just go with the first group of people who show some type of interest in you or whatever, because you still got to fill these folks out. I'm not saying let your guard down in a sense of just allowing everybody in your life, but don't be so guarded to the point where you're not letting anybody in. You know, so like I said, I think that things are going well for you, but they can be better. And I feel like deep down inside, they can be better. You know, it's just you have to allow that wall to be taken down. And it's not going to be easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do the same shit as you, Gemini. That's how I know. But at the same time, like, and I haven't even gotten to Virgo yet. So again, I don't know what's in store for me, but not yet. Um, and I didn't do a personal read for me this morning. I usually do my own reads. Um, when I wake up, I didn't do that this morning. So I have no idea what's happening. But in regards for you, Gemini, yeah, I think things are going well for you. But if you want better, better starts with you opening yourself up and allowing that. And again, don't be so unguarded to the point where you're allowing any old fool, any old group of people to come into your life. But also don't be too so closed off that you're keeping the good people away as well. That you're keeping the people who actually are for you away from you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I have as far as the South Node goes. North Node, what do we have in store? This kind of feels more like a North and South message, but I'm still giving you a North Node message just to see what we have for you. One card jumped out so far. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna read it right now. Eight of Wands. Now, swift action. This is yeah, sudden change as well. I think that if we are going based off of the um what I was just telling you, the South Node, maybe you're realizing that's you realizing, oh dang, I really would like to have a partner. Yeah, I really would think things would get better if I had friends or a group of people that I work with and we all came together and worked on, this thing. You had two more cards that jumped out. We'll see if more come out. If I feel compelled to, but the next card that jumped is the Two of Wands in reverse. This is someone who is overly cautious, also short sighted as well. Um, kind of want clarification on that. Why is that in the North Node though? Maybe it's weird to say maybe you're not cautious enough when I was just telling you that you're too guarded. Hmm. When I asked for clarification of the Two of Wands in reverse, the Nine of Swords showed up. This is someone who is pretty much in a state of hopelessness. These are interesting. Right now I'm gonna skip and go to the last card and see how this all ties together. You have the Knight of Cups in reverse, gloominess. Oof. Maybe I think it's coming to me now because we did start again with that Eight of Wands. This is sudden change and swift action. I think what the Two of Wands with this Nine of Swords and what this Knight of Cups is symbolic of is what will happen if things don't change. And I think that I don't want to, I mean, it is swift action, but I don't want to necessarily put a timeline on when this action needs to take place. Because again, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't have a crystal ball here to look into. I don't even have those Christmas snow globes, and I realize that literally right now as I'm thinking about the Christmas season. I would love to have one of those things. But anyways, right? I miss having those things. I used to have them all the time as a kid. Don't anymore, but I miss those things. Anyways, I think with this swift action though, for real, this is what could happen if ultimately you continue on the path of shutting yourself out. Because as I stated before, you might be good now, but you don't want to just settle with good. Ultimately, I think you want things to be better, and your life will be better when you allow love into your life instead of just being guarded and closed off because maybe you fear what has happened in the past that has made you so jaded will continue to happen. Or you saw other people go through stuff and you're like, well, I don't want that to happen to me, so I'm closing myself off. But what that's going to bring is just overall depression, hopelessness, frustration again with that Knight of Cups in reverse, as well as that Two of Wands in reverse. Ultimately, it's going to cause some frustration in your life. And it's not frustration because people suck, it's frustration because you're not allowing yourself to connect, to give yourself the chance to connect with the right people. Yeah, do people suck? Yeah, and that could cause frustration. But when you label all people as terrible, when you build a wall for yourself and you say no one can come into this wall, as I stated before, you keep the good people away as well. So, sure, you have protected yourself from the bad apples, but there are some fresh, sweet apples out there that also are not entering into your kingdom or queendom, right? Into your palace. And ultimately, that's on you. That's on you. Discernment is a thing that, I've said this before in the past when it comes to tarot. Like, discernment is your most important tool when it comes to getting a read from anybody, from me, anybody in your life. But also, discernment is a thing when it comes to, your life decisions, your interactions with other people. If people want to come into your life via whether it be romantically or not, I'm not saying don't be cautious, but and I'm not don't want to seem like an asshole, but like if something happens like a heartache or someone played you, it may have been a situation where you didn't necessarily use your best judgment. That's where your discernment should have came into play, and it didn't. You're not a bad person because it happened. It happens to the best of us. It happens to everybody. But going forward, instead of the lesson that you should have learned from that is no, keep everybody away. The lesson that you should have learned was I should use my discernment. You know what I'm saying? This is a situation to avoid a situation like this again. Let me use my discernment. Because all this telling yourself, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm good, while you're keeping yourself up at night, wishing somebody else was in that room with you, wishing you had friends, wishing you had business associates at the very least, if not friends, that can help you achieve more and you all work together. You're just lying to yourself. I don't know how else to put it. You just lying to yourself. All right. So, as far as the North Node goes, what I'm seeing here is make those changes that need to be made. All right, Gemini, we're about to get into the Oracle now. See what pops up. All right. So, your card that we have is Seize Every Minute. I had to look. Yeah, I had the blue background with the white letters and the white clouds. It was kind of hard to see, for me at least. Embrace each moment with purpose, for time is a precious gift on your journey of self discovery. I think that's pretty right on, self explanatory, but right on with this message here as well. You can continue on, and there's a lot of good that has happened for you this year, I'm going to say, and good that will continue to happen, but you can continue on. Well, I don't need much else. I'm fine. I'm good over here. You can continue on that, or you can be real and say, like I said, I want better. And better entails that you actually allow that into your space. Okay. Hopefully that helps out, Gemini. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We are on to Cancer right now. What time is it for the Cancers? So if you got Cancer in your chart, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is for you. End of the year read. As stated before, we're going to start off with the South Node. We're doing South Node messages, North Node messages, and the final tarot message, and then an oracle card. Okay. As far as the South Node is what you need to remove yourself from, what you need to get away from, essentially. What you need to leave behind in 2025. And probably a message that should have been left behind prior to that, but I didn't know you about it. So, like, you know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, you're getting that message now. All right. There has to be a death of something because the death card showed up. All right. Next card that showed up was the Four of Swords. So let's see if we can get at least one more card. Two of Cups. I think you got kind of a Cancer. You might be speaking to a Cancer with, I mean, you might have Gemini or even Taurus placements. You might, but I'm not going to say it's a definite. What I am seeing here, though, is, let me show you your cards. Like I said, you start with the Death card. It definitely needs to be an ending of something. I don't want to say end rest mode when you need to. I think you are sleeping. I get it now. Oh shit, you sleeping on somebody. you need to give somebody a chance, but now for real. Like, I think that this rest mode that you're in right now, Cancer, because I also think this is a love reading for you too. It's not going to be the case for everybody, but I think it's a love reading for Cancer for sure. I think you, just like I was saying with Gemini, though, like you've been avoiding a relationship or avoiding a potential relationship. I said this to Gemini, and I feel like I should be saying this to you right now. You shouldn't be single right now. I started off Gemini's reading with that. Like, you should be in a relationship right now, but there's somebody that is actually good for you that you've been sleeping on. You know what I'm saying? You've been sleeping on. And whether you knowingly, I feel as though you've knowingly been sleeping on this individual. Like, you know, this person would be good for you, but maybe because you're afraid of love, you're afraid of getting hurt, you've been sleeping on them. You've been, whatever the case is. I don't know if it's a situation where maybe physically they're not your type. In other ways, they're not your type. I would never try to force anyone to get into a relationship with somebody that they don't want to get into a relationship with. Yeah, should we get with people who treat us well? Yeah, but let's not lie to ourselves. We like partners who look good. And if you don't think this individual looks good, but they are a good, kind person, you don't got to get with them. You know what I'm saying? That's me speaking. That is not your spirit team speaking. That's just me speaking. You do what you want at the end of the day, like I always say. But the reason why I say that is because you also have the Two of Cups that showed up. And I think the reason why there's maybe a push for personal connections is because of how the world is right now. The world is a fucked up place. And I think that people out here are feeling lonely, or they're feeling like super depressed, or just, you know, in a low vibe, is because a lot of people, from what I'm seeing, personal experience, and from what I'm seeing in general, a lot of people are they don't have someone that they can actually confide into. And I mean like someone who isn't a paid therapist. I mean someone who isn't, someone that you watch online. I'm not saying don't have these people in your life. I'm saying that they can't take the place of someone that is actually close to you, actually someone who can be in that bed with you, someone who can, touch therapy is a real thing, y'all. Some folks might think it's woo woo or whatever. Touch therapy is a real thing, and obviously with your therapist, you can't have that relationship with them where y'all it has to be a professional touch, is what I'm saying, right? It's got to be handshakes. That's that. Maybe a professional hug. But if you can't have your therapist hold you, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not don't snitch on your therapist. If your therapist does hold you and things of that nature, hold your hand and all that stuff. But I'm saying, like, based off of the little itty bitty knowledge that I know about what it takes to be a therapist, obviously part of that agreement is there has to be a professionalism between you and the clients. So handshakes. And handshakes, although handshakes are cool, I guess, and they're not like hugs. They're not like cuddles. They're not like being held by somebody who can hold you through the good and bad times, right? It's not that type of warmth. You know what I'm saying? I don't got to tell you that, Cancer. You know that. Y'all the ones who, with the biggest hearts in the zodiac sign. So y'all know what it is. Y'all know what love feels like, both spiritually and physically. You know what love feels like. Not saying no one else doesn't, but cancers definitely know what love feels like. But I feel like you've been avoiding that. You've been avoiding that. And again, I don't know you personally, but I can only infer that you've been avoiding that because of fears of what had been in the past, when you did allow yourself to be held, to be touched, to be loved, essentially, right? But you're being told by your spirit team that did that. Like, that needs to end. Like, you need to let this fear go. And again, as I stated, there is somebody out there that actually really wants to do you right. Like I said, with that Four of Swords, I feel as though you've been sleeping on them. You just been ignoring them. You just probably kept them in the friend zone, or probably, again, just, how they are. You know how they feel. You know exactly. I get the feeling you know exactly how they feel about you. But you've been, yeah, you know, I know they like me, but just say you're not ready. That's all you got to say, really, is you're not ready. It's not that they're the problem, it's that you're not ready. And I'm not saying you got to be ready now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's you that's been preventing that relationship, not them. They've been ready. They're ready to go. You got the chariot here, but like, they're ready to go. They've been ready to go. You're the one that's been sleeping, you know? So just be mindful of that. All right. So we're on to your north node now. As I said, your first card was the chariot. So maybe you do open things up. You got a lot of good coming. And like I said, you're the one that's been, as I stated, you're the one that's been holding that back. And I think the moment you realize that, things get better. It seems as though things get definitely get better. You have, oh, I didn't even see this. You had the, I didn't know the Queen of Cups was under the, I was about to pick up this. As soon as I picked this up, the Queen of Cups is right under it. I didn't even know that jumped out. All right, we'll get there when we'll get there, but I'm gonna get to this since this is the one that showed up. You have the Eight of Swords here, self victimizing. So again, like I said, I believe this is you realizing I'm the one that hasn't really been, putting my foot forward in regards to this relationship here. It's not that they've been pump faking. I feel, I don't know this situation, but I feel as though this person's been very, whoever that other individual is, they've been very blunt and very much I don't mean assertive in a bad way, but I mean assertive in a way of like they haven't been shy in letting you know how they feel about you. You have been the one that has been reserved. You've been the one, like I said, that's been holding yourself back, sleeping on them. It's not that they haven't been making the move. They're making the move. They're shooting their shots. You're just, you're the one that's, either inadvertently blocking their shot. Like every time they shoot, you just block it, or you turn your head. So when you don't know if the shot goes in or not, you just turn your head. You're looking down at your phone. You're not even paying attention to them. They doing all type of trick shots to try to impress you, and you don't even know what they're doing. That's on you though. Like I said, after the Eight of Swords that showed up, the Queen of Cups in reverse showed up. Yeah, this is also the card of self-victimizing. So it served like a double confirmation that you're actually the one that has been the reason as to why you're single right now. Like I said to Gemini, I said to you as well. You shouldn't be single right now. You should not be single right now. I'm interested to see how long that message lasts for the rest of the signs. I can tell you the first few signs, like Aries and Taurus, didn't get that message. I started to get that message of you should not be single right now when Gemini hit, and then obviously we're here with you right now, and you got the same message. You should not be single right now. You should be going into the new year. You should be celebrating Christmas tomorrow with a bang. And you probably still could after watching this live stream. Maybe give that person a chance. Give them a call back. They've been calling, they've been texting, they've been trying to connect. You still got time, it seems. So, unlike with Gemini, it does seem as though number one, you know who this person is. And I feel as though your change I'm not trying to compare or contrast or say your read's better. I'm just saying, based off the similarities, it seems as though if you want that relationship, your change can happen faster than it can for Gemini. Gemini had a whole damn wall. They're gonna have to take down that wall before anybody can come in. You don't have a wall necessarily. You're allowing this person to still have contact with you. You just aren't reciprocating the same type of mutual attraction that they have for you, is what I'm saying here. All right. You are in a mode of, again, we have this Two of Pentacles, or let me say for the first time, so you are going to be able to find it does give a message of finding a balance between letting this person in, but also protecting yourself, which again, as I stated with Gemini, it's okay to protect yourself. I'm gonna say that to everybody. It's okay to protect yourself. There ain't nothing wrong with protecting yourself. But there's a big difference between protecting yourself and then keeping the good people away and just, excuse me, shine away from what is meant for you. Again, some more protection. You have that King of Swords here. This is someone who moves with integrity, someone who is disciplined, someone who can be very much stern when they need to, but they're very much understanding as well. So it can be, again, having that balance between, I'm going to make sure I don't get hurt, but I'm also going to make sure that I allow this individual to love me the way that I want to be loved, you know? And then your last card is the Seven of Cups here. Wishful thinking. You know what I'm saying? Opportunities coming. Cancer, I feel as though like this year and probably even previous years, some of the more depressing reads I've done for on this channel were from the sign of Cancer. This is a beautiful full circle moment, if I do say so myself. This is a lot of not just growth, but a lot of just yeah, just growth, understanding, a lot of I'm seeing I'm getting at least the energy of a lot of just personal ownership of where you are in life instead of woe is meing all the damn time. There's the protection aspect that you love so much. Now, I don't blame you. There's that aspect here too, which is great to see. But there's also, again, like I say, that there's the balance between that and opening yourself up. Before I get to the oh, thank you for watching, Ethereal Moonlight. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'm glad I can help out. Um, oh, I was supposed to do one more final message, one more tarot card, because that was all your North Node, by the way. But I was just saying that was your North Node. So we're going to get into one final tarot message before we get to the oracle, and then you got a whole bunch just seen at least 3 cards or one. Okay, 2 just dropped. Ah, workout. You know what I'm saying? My body's in pain, but we're gonna work this out. All right, interesting. So the first card that dropped is the 6 of Wands. Recognition, validation, allowing yourself essentially, again, to be loved, to be celebrated. The next card that dropped out was another Wands card. You have the 10 of Wands in reverse. This is burnout, though, and not seeking someone who doesn't seek help or anything of that nature. So I'm going to say, again, there needs to be a balance of independence and allowing yourself to be celebrated. Allowing people, as I'm going to say, I don't think this is, very much symbolic of with these wands that showed up. It's not, work as in physical work. It's work as in like your emotional labor. Allowing yourself to love yourself, but also allowing other people to love you. So that's pretty much your homework, what you need to move toward going for the new year, Cancer. All right. But quite the read. I love this for y'all. Real talk. And yeah, hopefully you got something of value. If so, remember to hit that like. Feel free to comment, share this stream out. Subscribe if you're not subscribed as well. Let's see if we can get. All right. Now we are on to, let me guess, it's Leo, right? All right. I'm getting better. Getting better, I guess, in the order. So we're on the Leo right now. And as I've stated at the beginning, I'll state again. Once this live stream is up, I will work on the timestamps. I will post them in the description. I mean, not in the description, in the pinned comment below. Yeah. Or at least, can I pin 2 comments on YouTube? Probably can't. That sucks. That's unfortunate. Anyways, because I kind of want to pin this, but also the special that's going on right now. The pin comment that you see right now, like I said, personal reads, pay what you want. That deal is ending on January 1st, though. So you have from now until January 1st to, submit a payment, submit your questions to the Gmail, and yeah. Only people who've made payments obviously can submit to the Gmail. If you submit to the Gmail, and I'm gonna know if you paid or not. Like, please don't be that person that submits something and you didn't pay, and you're trying to put off like you did pay. I'm using Stripe. Stripe will let you know who actually does pay. So I'm just saying. But yeah, interested in that, partake in that. I'll probably leave that in the description box below, or I will leave that in the description box and then leave the timestamps in the pinned comment. All right. So we're starting off with the South Node. So we're doing South Node and then North Node, one final tarot read, and then an oracle read. That is how we are doing these reads for this live stream. Okay. So starting off with the South Node here for Leo, I got to cover it up. We have the star in reverse. So the South Node describes what you need to move away from. This could be mindsets, behaviors, even people, which you need to leave in 2025, essentially. And this is a perfect, this not shining, not allowing yourself to shine, holding yourself back. I'm seeing a lot of that here with the 3 cards that you got already, but we're starting with the star in reverse. Yeah. You should have left that. You should have left that years ago. But again, I've only been doing this for what, like 2 years now. So I understand if you didn't get that message years ago or whatever the case is, but you're getting it now, right? And the message of, again, or at least one of them being that you should stop dimming your light for others. It may have been a year where you necessarily, like, you could have shined all throughout 2025 or various moments during this year, and you didn't because people, maybe you didn't want to outshine the master, or people in your life was making you feel a certain way for simply shining. I gotta clear my throat before I say this, but and that's no disrespect to your people, but fuck those folks, man. Fuck them. Anybody, personal relationship or not, if they are going to feel a way about you shining, right? It really irritates me. That's why I had to say that, because it really irritates me when people get upset at people for naturally shining and being themselves. I get inspired when I see people be loved for who they genuinely are. Unfortunately, we have a lot of folks out here who don't get inspired by that. They get real salty. They get real jealous. They get real envious. They get real all just low vibey in general. And they start to hating. And personally speaking, and I've seen other people do this, we start to allow those voices to dictate how we show up in the world. And we shouldn't. Fuck them folks. This goes for Leos. This goes for anybody, really. Like, fuck them. Like, don't allow those people to dim your light because they feel away because you just shining. Nah. All right. So do away with that in 2025. All right. Leave that in 2025 is what I'm saying. All right. Your next card is the 8 of Wands in reverse. This is a big old hot mess, essentially. But yeah, it's a card of mayhem. It's a card of mess, disorganization as well. Also, the card of indecision too, which can cause messes. Like if something needs to change and you're not making a move, that thing ends up being worse. It's like with cancer, you know what I'm saying? Not the sign, but the illness, right? Once it's detected in your body, you have to get it treated. If you just let it fester in your body, well, I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist, a biologist, any other type of doctor or scientist to know what will happen if you let cancer just fester. So I'm not saying you're going to have cancer. I'm not saying you have cancer. What I'm saying is there is something happening within your life. Maybe, again, it has to do with you really needing to change how you show up. And when I say change, I mean actually show up. I don't mean change as in keep dimming your light. I mean change as in actually showing up. And I feel as though maybe when it starts hitting you financially, and I say that because you have the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Once it starts hitting you financially, That's probably when you're going to realize, oh shit, I've been dimming my light. I've been holding back. It could be a situation with your job, actually, where you haven't been performing as well as you know you can because you don't want to make the other employees mad or jealous or upset, right? But it's fucking with your paper. It could be a situation to where it's like you could have been earning a lot more money. And it's not to be superficial and everything about it because again, this is the card of superficiality, right? Um, but it's also the card in reverse. It's careerism as well, like focusing on like doing something that is career driven, right? That's why I believe this is more so to do with like your job rather than personal relationships. Although that could be a case too. Maybe you work with family, or maybe you don't work with family, but they don't want you to perform well at your job, so you all can stay at the same C level position that you have, or whatever position that you might have at your job, and you got a brother who doesn't want to who gets mad whenever you make an elevation, right? Y'all don't work together. Y'all in two totally different fields. But when there may have been times in life whenever you elevated, he got jealous. He got mad. He got upset. He felt the way. And because you maybe want to maintain that relationship with your brother, you love him. You kept from elevating because you didn't want to make brother Bubba jealous or whatever his name is, right? It could I'm just guessing. I'm not it doesn't have to be a brother. These are just examples I'm giving. It could be a brother, a lover, a nobody of that nature. But I'm getting the sense that you, especially in this year, was holding yourself back from achieving much more than what you could achieve simply because maybe other people in your life don't like it when you make these elevations. And in regards to the South Node, you're being told to leave that mentality in 2025. Go for it. Like I said, if people got a problem with it, that's on them. But I think you could have achieved a lot more. Again, we have that nine of Pentacles in reverse, where I feel as though had you allowed yourself to go forward, you wouldn't have gotten a lot. You would have this would have been you had you allowed yourself to go forward and shine instead of holding yourself back or allowing other people's thoughts about your elevations hold you back. All right. We're going into the North Node now, which you need to move forward. And I'm gonna get more cards, but what jumped out again is that Eight of Swords. A lot of self-victimization I'm seeing. The last three reads, you, Cancer, I believe it's Gemini as well. But a lot of self-victimizing going on here, where a lot of the issues that you may have ran into, or one of the major issues you may have ran into this year, ultimately you're the one that was holding yourself back. Now, it's good to see that this is showing up, meaning that you now know, or at least are aware, that ultimately it don't matter what these people are saying. They can say whatever the hell. Your brother can feel mad. Your brother can feel away. He or whoever shouldn't, dictate how you move. You know what I'm saying? Just like with Cancer, you might have Cancer in your chart because you also got the Six of Wands as well. This is, like I said, recognition, triumph. When you show up as yourself, when you show up as the star, that can happen. The triumph, the victory, the notice, that promotion, if we're talking about work again, that promotion at work. What showed up last is the Ace of Wands in reverse. This is someone who is resistant to change, resistant to making things, happen for themselves. Someone who self sabotages. This is a clear cut example of dimming your light to appease others and it's not going in your way. You're not getting the money you deserve because you're not letting yourself shine. You're not making the elevations that you would be making if you stopped dimming your light, simply because you're allowing these folks to have. And when I say these folks, and again, we ultimately it's your decision to do that. These people aren't literally holding you together, right? This card is like, if you look at the wrapping this woman is in, shit looks like tissue. You can easily break out of that. Like, move your arms, take that blindfold off your face. You put yourself in this position. Ultimately, you put yourself in this position of trying to please people to the point where not trying to outshine somebody. I was giving the example of your brother because that's what came to mind. It could be somebody else. It could be someone you view as a brother or someone that you're really close to. But you got to ask yourself this question. This is me speaking. You got to ask yourself this question. Whenever I found myself in situations like that, whether I actually be a sibling or a friend or whatever, someone I'm close to, you got to ask yourself, how close really are you all if your elevation threatens them? Yeah, it's gonna suck to find out that that person really didn't fuck with you as much as you messed with them, because whenever they made an elevation, you celebrated it, you enjoyed it, you loved those moments. But it wasn't the same for them when you made an elevation. So ultimately, yeah, I don't see the tower showing up. I mean, we do have one more final tarot read for you, so maybe it will show up. But that to me is a situation that needs to end. I don't want anybody in my life who's gonna hate on me whenever I make an elevation. And I don't think you should want people like that in your life too, Leo. But at the end of the day, like I say with everybody, you're gonna do what you want to do. I'm just here to read the cards and hopefully give you as much guidance as possible. The card you did get is my favorite card in the whole deck, the Hierophant. So this is someone who is not afraid to let everybody know I have boundaries, and these are my boundaries. I have a moral code. I have a way of doing things. I have a way of showing up, which has been the overall message for you. I have a way of showing up, and this is how I'm going to show up. And if you don't like how I'm showing up, tough. That's tough because I'm going to show up this way anyway. So get your glasses on. This star is going to shine bright. Get your sunglasses out. That's so you can cope with that, or you can, I don't know, go to where there are no stars. Go somewhere where this light doesn't shine. You know. But what I'm not going to do is continue to dim my light. I'm not going to make the sky hazy or whatever, or build skyscrapers to block out the stars. I ain't gonna do any of that. Nah, I'm gonna shine. So you either appreciate the brightness, get your sunglasses out, or go elsewhere. I hope you get what I'm saying. What I'm pretty much saying is you are in a mode of like, listen, I'm not gonna change anything else about me because you feel a certain way of how I'm showing up. I'm showing up the way that I'm showing up. Because like I said, had you showed up like yourself, you could have made some gains, financial gains and gains within your career as well. You know, now I'm not saying it's doom and gloom for you because you allowed yourself to be dimmed in 2025, that things won't get better in 2026. What I'm simply saying is, if you've ever been wondering, damn, my 2025 sucked. Damn, I would have been, I should have been there. I should have been like 2025 should have been like this. Again, not trying to make you feel bad, not, any of that. I'm just simply saying, hey, listen, like you played a part in that by allowing these people to get you in this state. And you gave them the power to do that. So there is that. We're about to get into the oracle for my Leos, my cousins, is what I like to call y'all. And you got a nice fiery card, if I do say so. Oh, if I do say so myself. You have not afraid of hardships. Confront challenges with courage, for they are the stepping stones to growth and wisdom. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge telling people, especially someone close or people, whether it's more than one person or not, telling them, no, you're not going to allow me, you're not going to, or no, I'm not going to change into, what you want me to be, someone who dims their light. No, I'm not going to continue to do that. That could be hard. I'm not saying it's going to come easy, but I think what comes natural to you, especially to Leos in general, is being the center of attention, being the star, being the one who stands out. That's naturally who you are. And again, I just never understood people who want to cherish relationships with folks who don't want them to be their true authentic self. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what I have for you, Leo. All in all, I think it's a great read for y'all. Appreciate you for rocking with me throughout the year or years, because it's been 2. Hit that like before you go if you're gonna, if you are watching or whatever the case is, whether it be the playback or not. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. All right. Now, oh man, we're here now. We're here. We are at the sign of Virgo. Sun, moon, or rising. My brothers and sisters, what's going on? What is going on? It's our time. Let's see what we should leave behind in 2025. I'm doing, again, South Node and North Node, and final tarot message, and then the oracle card. So let's see what's up with that in regards for the sign of Virgo. South Node. What should we leave behind? We have 2 cards that showed up now. Let me keep shuffling to see if anything more is gonna. All right. So we should leave people behind to get this money now. Let me not. What I'm seeing here is the 9 of Swords in reverse. Now, I'm not saying leave behind hope. This is finding hope. This is great. But I think it's more so we should leave behind a reliance on people for us to make whatever elevations we want in our life. It's not to say to go into, and when I say hermit mode, like a toxic hermit mode, where it's like you're just doing away with society, you living in some damn cave amongst the wolves and all this other stuff, right? Because obviously the hermit is our card. So going into hermit mode is actually empowering us. I'm not saying the hermit is here. I'm just saying that as an example. But the reason as to why I say we should probably do away with a reliance on people or overly reliance on people is we have the 9 of cups. Well, not 9, sorry. The 4 of cups in reverse. 9 of cups came out of mind for whatever reason, but 4 of cups, this is idolizing the past. Again, just being so stuck in whether past relationships, past moments. Maybe this was a childhood friend. Maybe this was whoever this other individual is symbolic of. And it's not even the four of cups. I am getting, am I getting tired? It's the six of cups. That's crazy. When you look at it upside down, it looked like five minus one. Anyways, um, so as stated, it seems as though it's a too much of a reliance on this past individual that should be left in the past. Um, Maybe you've had some good times with them. I said this at the beginning, and I think it was during. No, actually, it wasn't Aries. It was Taurus when I said this. This is the ninth year. I hope y'all know that. And not number nine is the number of completion, meaning after that, things have done and things are done. We're going into a 1 year, so a new beginning, literally and figuratively speaking, for the new year, right? Or literally and spiritually speaking, we're going into a new, like an actual new year. So this is this old world stuff, these old issues, they're not meant to follow us within the new year. Now, again, memories are memories, and memories are always going to stay with us for as long as we are capable of having memories. But it shouldn't stay with us to the point to where it's continuing to hold us back. Because ultimately, what these memories were doing was keeping us up at night, essentially causing stress, causing hopelessness, causing us to suffer. Now, again, it showed up in reverse, so it is a sign that we are getting to a point to where we're no longer, in this mode of idolizing the past. But I feel as though this is for some Virgos that still need to hear this message, because someone is still struggling with not letting something go. Virgos are, we're in our head a lot. We replay situations a lot and be like, I should have said this. What if things went this way? What if I know a lot of other people do that, but Virgos are very much like, we're always constantly replaying situations, good and bad, but definitely the bad ones, and especially if there are situations of the past. Like no other sign, I feel as though wishes they had a time had a time machine than a Virgo. We all wish we had a time machine, but I feel as though Virgos would abuse the fuck out of a time machine had we had access to it. You know what I'm saying? Because we constantly living in our heads, and part of that is living in the past. You know, um, so yeah, let go, let that go. The last card that showed up for the South Node is the Page of Pentacles. Manifestation, being diligent, being ambitious, getting to this money. That's why I said nah. But for real, like it's focusing on yourself, essentially. Focusing on your own personal growth. Like you realizing like what happened in the past with this individual, it could have been a past friend that y'all went into business with. And now you gotta spend some time being a solo business individual, right? And you're like, man, how do I move on without this person? You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. I wish I can give you the answer on how to do that. I can't. Not simply because I don't have the cards to say so, or I didn't pull any cards to say so, but I literally can't. I gotta keep telling folks, I'm not a fortune teller. But you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to figure that out. And if anyone can figure that out, it's a Virgo. So it's like, I don't know why you tripping so much. You're gonna have to, you know? So that's what I have as far as the South Node goes. Um North Node, what should we move toward? Going for the new year. And this could also be even past 2026. Like it could be a mindset that needed to be implemented going forward, in life in general, you know? All right. So I can already tell a lot of what we need to stop doing is doubting ourselves. You have the Knight of Cups in reverse. This is someone who is very much gloom and doom. Also, the card of unrealistic expectations. But I don't think that this is a reminder, or this is you. This is the universe saying to you that you should really just lower your expectations or not dream big. I'm thinking when I see this, and I know this, I'm saying this because I'm identifying it as in within myself. Unrealistic expectations meaning that you expect miracles to happen overnight. That's unrealistic. Let's just keep it a buck. Do miracles seemingly happen to other people overnight or just in other situations? Sure. I can't remember a time it's ever happened to me, but I'm not going to sit here and say because it hasn't happened to me, or I can't remember a time where it has happened to me, that it would never happen or has never happened for anybody else. But it's unrealistic to think that it can always happen to you when it didn't happen to you today. It didn't happen to you yesterday. It might happen to you tomorrow on Christmas. It might not. But if we're going based off of the process of the probability, if it didn't happen to you today, the unrealistic, miracle, if it didn't happen today and happened yesterday and happened the day before, I'm not saying give up hope because that's what this card is, giving up hope as well. I'm simply just saying being realistic with your goals. Again, in regards to what I was saying with this South Node situation, I feel as though I'm speaking to like a Virgo businessman or business individual, someone who's trying to build something, working toward building something, and they may have had somebody in their corner for quite some time. This could be a childhood friend again, as that Six of Cups typically symbolizes someone that you've known for a very long time since birth, since childhood. It could have been somebody like that leaving your life. Y'all two not having a connection. Oh, this card dropped. Y'all two not having a connection, right? Um, but you're gonna, like I was saying before we got into the North Node, you're still gonna have to go at it, or you can stay in this. I don't know what to do, and then be upset that you didn't achieve anything. You know, so just be mindful of that. By the way, the Knight of Cups showed up in reverse, but when it dropped, it showed up upright. So maybe that needed to happen. Maybe in like a Virgo out there really needed to, really snapped out of that doom and gloom, and now they're very much their charming, hopeful self. You know what I'm saying? But the next card that we got was the Chariot in reverse as well. Pretty much, obstacle, opposition in a way. And again, I don't see that Eight of Swords showing up like it had for the past few reads, but I do feel like that mentality is still there where we are in our own way essentially. Like we're the reason why the chariot stopped or why the chariot has slowed down. And if it's not us, it's again this situation that, this breaking up of the past of this past relationship that may have caused a roadblock, a pothole even. That doesn't mean you can't patch up the wheel and keep going though. So there is that. The last card that we have for the North Node is the Page of Cups in reverse. Emotional immaturity. So what I'm seeing here, as far as just what you need to move forward, like I said, it's a lot of it's a lot of inner work when it comes to our self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our ability. Remember that Page of Pentacles is here. The Page of Pentacles makes shit happen. They're diligent. They're someone who keeps going. And ultimately, and that lowly old pinnacle turns into much more than just that one you see in this picture. But this individual is ambitious. And that's what we need to have going into 2026. A lot of ambition. If you don't know how to make something happen, just a mere idea and just a mere I want to make it happen, even if I don't know how, that's a lot better than I don't know how to make this happen. I'm going to sit around and wait for someone to give me the answer, or I don't know what to do next, and I'm going to sit around and cry about it because I don't know what to do next, which is, the latter is what Virgos tend to do. Because we hate not knowing things, and then when we don't know things we start crying about not knowing things. So we tend to be that side of things where it's like, if I don't know what to do, I'm gonna cry about not knowing what to do because I want to know what to do, right? Where you really should be like, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. It might have to be a dartboard situation. I'm gonna keep throwing these darts. Something stick, cool. If something is far off but it still hit the board, I can I can try to work with that. You know what I'm saying? It's not the dead center target, but it's not bullseye, but it's at least it didn't hit the wall. At least it didn't hit somebody else in the eye. Like, at least it hit the board. So just having that optimism that even if things didn't hit bullseye, like, you still have the will to keep going forward. And I think that's the mentality that we need to have, like I said, in 2026. And going forward, that's great advice for anybody, not just Virgos, but for anybody. But that was what we got for the North Node. All right. So that was pretty quick. Any last messages that we need for this year? We ended up getting two. The first one was temperance. I forgot who got this card, but temperance. All right. Moderation, patience, a lot of patience for ourselves, especially. It seems though a balance. Again, a balance of having that faith and putting in the work, it seems. The other card we have is the Five of Cups. This is regret, mourning as well, defeatism. I think this showed up, and this is interesting because I feel as though temperance, was it temperance? I forgot who. One, I forgot who. I think it was Taurus, but again, but nonetheless, we're too much in our head, and I feel as though what is being told to us a lot going into 2026 is to, yes, keep these memories alive, because that mourning here is, again, you're probably in a state of mourning a loss of, this close friend that the six of, again, the, let me get carry this out, that this is symbolic of, right? We're too much in our head, and this may have been like a very special individual to you, Virgo. I'm not saying forget them. I'm not being heartless at all. I'm not saying forget them. But what I am saying is what is done is done. What I am saying is, if it's a situation to where that person is no longer in your life, if they wanted to continue to be in your life, they would be in your life right now. Let's keep it real. Virgos, we could be blunt with everybody else. We got to be able to be blunt with ourselves. All right. So, from Virgo to Virgo, if this person really wanted to be in your life right now, they'd be in your life right now. But they're not because, well, they don't want to. I don't mean to be an asshole. I'm not trying to sound like one. I'm just simply saying, stop being in your head about this individual. It's not going to do you well. You would do a lot better if you continue to go forward despite this individual not being around. Go forward despite. I feel as though this individual may have been like a mentor to you. I'm getting that vibe. I'm getting this individual was showing you the way on how to do things. And because they're no longer your mentor, no longer in your life, again, you don't have the faith in yourself to find the answers to guide yourself. I feel as though I said this. I'm gonna say it again though. If anyone can find their way, it's a Virgo. I'm not saying you didn't need the mentor. We all can benefit from having mentors. But there comes a time where a mentor is just a hand holder. And you're old, they're good, for everybody, not just Virgos. So it's like, do you want your hand to be held all the damn time, the whole damn time? They're not going to be here forever to literally hold your hand. Literally and figuratively speaking, they're not going to be here forever to hold your hand. There's going to be a time where you're going to have to go on that walk on your own. You're going to have to figure things out by yourself. So, and it could be a situation where the mourning is happening because it's not that they didn't want to be in your life. Maybe this is someone who passed. And you can no longer get their mentorship because, well, they're no longer here to give you that. No longer here in the physical realm. Spiritually speaking, you still have those memories. You still have those teachings that they taught you when they were here. You can carry that. You can holster that. That's why this temperance is here. Having that balance between continuing on their memory, but also learning things on your own, having your own, being able to teach yourself, guide yourself, not having to focus on him or them or any other person for that matter to hold your hand through whatever journey you're on. So that was the tarot. We're about to get into the oracle card for Virgo. Okay. Listen, we got this. We got this. But I got to keep it. This is the card we got. Rough road. Let me try to get that in focus. All right. Rough road. Prepare carefully before you continue. For it's a long, they didn't add all those O's, I did, but for it's a long journey ahead. Lucky for me, I like hikes. So long journeys don't scare me, nigga. Like, come on now. Go on this hike with me, Virgo. Let's go. We got this. All right. That's what I have for us. Hopefully, you got anything of value. Hey, if you did, please hit that like, subscribe if you're new here. Continue watching. And yeah, if you would like a personal read, check out the pinned comment. But that was the read that I have for Virgo. We's gonna be all right. Y'all gonna be all right. All right, because if I'm gonna be all right, you gonna be all right. That's how it is. I'm gonna lift my brothers and sisters up. We're on the Libra right now. All right, getting down to the wire. We are on to Libra. What is happening? You want to know what's crazy? A few months ago, I told myself that I came up with a new nickname for Libras. I still call y'all Libra G's now. You know what I'm saying? But I came up with a new that's what it was, lasagna. Called y'all niggas lasagna. That's crazy. That's crazy. That kind of sound pause. Well, hold on now. Let me not. So I'm gonna stick with Libra G's because some ideas you got to say out loud to figure out that it was a bad idea. Anyways, Libra G's, what's happening? We're gonna start off with the South Node. We start off with the South Node first, and then we get into the North Node, and then we get into any final tarot message that is for you, and then we end off the read with the oracle card. Starting with the South Node, meaning what you need to move away from, okay, what you should leave essentially in 2025. We start off with the 9 of Wands. All right. I'm not saying move away from resiliency, but I think it's more so moving away from. This is like another guarded type of energy, right? Like you're fighting back for show, but you're also having your guard up when in moments it seems, especially this year, I think you probably had your guard up in moments where you really didn't need to have your guard up. You was in defense mode in moments where nobody was trying to steal from you, take from you. Nobody was trying to harm you in any way. And I think that, again, it's good to be guarded. It's good to have a that seems to be a recurring theme with a few of the signs, is having a balance between keeping your guard and letting people in. And like I was saying before, um, forgot what sign when I went on this little tangent. I'm about to go on it again. I feel like a lot of the reasons why a lot of people are in a depressed state is because we're not allowing ourselves to have connection with people anymore. And I mean physical, in-person connections, not just online connections, which is great. It's better than nothing. Let me tell you that. An online connection is better than not having a connection, period. But it's better than both in-person connections. And I think because we're not allowing ourselves to have these connections with people, we're always in a state of fight or flight. We're always in a state of defense mode because we don't have someone that we personally connect to in person, that we can, confide into, that we feel safe around, essentially. And I think for you, Libra, that at least with this first card, that's you. You're not, you're the sign of love. You're usually the lover. You're usually the one that is um pretty much open to love, essentially, right? I also want the signs, anyone. I think it was Cancer. I think it was you. I think it was someone else, Gemini, whatever. No, not Gemini. It was Leo. Let 2025 be a lesson that when you don't actually live in your truth, you're not protecting yourself. For Leo, for example, right? Not to pick on Leos, I'm just using y'all for an example. You shine. You're meant to stand out. When you don't allow yourself to stand out, you're not living in alignment. As far as with you, Libra, if you don't allow yourself to express love, you're not living in alignment. So if you all want to continue to live not in alignment, that's your choice. You do what you want to do at the end of the day. I said that like 50 times already in this video. I'm going to say it 50 more times in next year. I'm going to say it 50 more times until I can't say no more. But like, you do what you want to do at the end of the day, but when you're not living in alignment, you can't really be upset at anybody but yourself, because it was your choice at whatever situation you may find yourself in. All right. Your next card, though, is we do have to pay. We have another Wands card. We have the Page of Wands, exploration, extroversion, someone who is enthusiastic as well. So that is how you usually show up, especially in regards to love. So I think the message here really is to stop hiding that side of you. Again, there probably going to be people are like, oh, this Libra is too weird. They're so forward. Because people are so damn guarded and jaded now. When they see somebody who is comfortable with expressing themselves, that person's a weirdo. No, actually, you're the rebel. You're not a weirdo. You're a rebel. In a world full of jaded, I'm too hard to love motherfuckers, you're the one who is like, I'm not too hard to love. That's a rebel to me. That's not a weirdo. That's a rebel. It's weird to pretend. To me, it's weird to pretend like you don't want something you really do. It's weird to pretend like you so hard and too. That's weird. That's what's really weird. Not the person who's unafraid to show themselves. It's the person who pretends like they don't want something or they not a certain way when they are. Those are the real weirdos. All right. Last card that showed up for you as far as the South Node goes, we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. Some more again. Showed up for a few cards. It showed up for Virgo, someone else as well. And yeah, like this is gloominess, depression. What up, Lakeisha? I don't know who Boar is, but nah, I'm just joking. I think you meant Boo, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. But what up? What up? Good to see you. Glad you're here. Um, I'm reading for Libra right now. I just finished doing their South Node reading. Just to wrap up what I was saying to you, Libra, I think what's being told to you is for you to, or maybe Boar is, here I go. Boar might be slang for something else. And I don't know because, you know what I'm saying? Oh, brother. Hey, okay. I feel you. I feel you. That's what it was. It was bro. That's what it meant. I'm sorry. Libra. Libra. My bad. Um, Libra. Like I said, with this South Node, it's okay to be guarded, you know what I'm saying? But also, um, be your loving self. And what you need to get away from is this idea that you have to show up like the other jaded people out there, or the other people who are pretending like they don't want love, or they don't love, or they're too hard to love, or whatever the case is, right? Don't be that. Don't show up like that. Those are weirdos. You're not a weirdo, all right? So let's do that. We're about to get into the North Node message right now. What you need to move forward, what you need to, like, how you need to show up, what behaviors, what do you need to do more of going into 2026 and possibly the future as well. Okay. Yeah. As I was stating, what I'm seeing here, I'll show you cards in a few, but what I'm seeing here with these three cards, I feel like you've been shaping yourself up, kind of like, who was it? Leo, I think. You might have Leo placements. You've been shaping yourself up to fit into somebody else's standard. Kind of like Leo. Leo was dimming their light, which is in a way shaping yourself, but it's not to the extreme like this. This is you literally like shaping yourself up, or at least what I'm seeing here. Now, you do have the Five of Pentacles in reverse, which is great to see. But I feel as though at one point, this card showed up because at one point it was like this, where you were feeling unwelcomed, and the reason why you was feeling that way is because you were showing up, you know, as somebody that you're not, and yet you still weren't being accepted. Why? Because even fake people can recognize when, not all the time, but even fake people can recognize when people are being fake and they weren't accepting you because they're like, nah, this ain't it. But what I do see again, it did show up in reverse. So the Five of Pentacles here. Then you have that Four of Swords here, right? Being mindful, it's introspection, right? Which is again great to see because what it shows to me is that you're caring less about what other people say. As I've stated, you are a lover, and you, in an example that I'm giving, you're going to show up more so as a lover rather than somebody who pretends to be hard and fighting all the damn time, right? Instead of being on defense mode all the time, you're going to allow yourself to live in alignment, right? Show up as yourself in general. You're not just, a lovey-dovey person. It's not like you love all the damn time and stuff. Or I'm just saying that's your sign, but it's like there are other aspects of a Libra other than being someone who is, into love, right? Now, the reason why I said all that is you have the Fool in reverse, right? So it could be a situation to where the Fool, when they're living in alignment, they're not somebody who, you know, um, that's someone that can be themselves, right? But in reverse, and I feel like I gotta wipe that camera. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably gonna have to turn on a light soon. Sun is going down, but appreciate y'all for rocking with me. But yeah, what I see here is in regards to the North Node is I see somebody who you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna start living up to these people's standards anymore. Like I'm gonna actually live in alignment, which is what I love to see. You know, be you. Like I said, you're not a weirdo for being you. The weird folks are the folks who feel as though they need to be like everybody else. The weird folks are especially the ones who know they're showing up as everybody else and still do so because to them it's safer to show up as everybody else. This archetype, and while you and anybody else who's comfortable with showing up as themselves, y'all the rebels. All right, so yeah. Last card that you got is the Two of Wands, taking risk, exploration as well. Also having the foresight to at least understand. I won't say foresight to see the future, but to understand that there's a bright future or there's brightness ahead within the future. You know, I love this. I'm loving this end of the year read I'm doing for a lot of folks. You know what I'm saying? I think I've had like, and I don't even remember the sign, but it was like one where I was like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? But we're about to get into the oracle right now. So yeah, let's see what's what. All right. Not a bad card, if I do say so myself. You got higher wisdom. Explore options. Learn what you can and expand your horizons. All right. That's what I have for you, Libra. I'm about to turn on this light. So y'all gonna have to like bear with me for like 2 seconds, maybe more. The thing don't. All right. All right. All right. Ah. Thanks for rocking with me, Libra. And yeah, if you got anything of value, please hit that like, subscribe if you're brand new. Let's get it. All right. Let's see if we got the good split here. Next, we have already forgot Scorpio. Scorpio. Scorpio's had an interesting year, I would say. Or at least based off of some of the reads that I remember doing, I feel as though it's been an interesting year for Scorpio. So I'm actually curious to see what's this message for Scorpio. We start off with the South Node. We're going to do the nodes, South Node, North Node, any final tarot message, and then the Oracle. Okay, South Node represents what you need to move away from, essentially what you should leave in 2025, what you probably should have left in previous years as well that was lingering on, but definitely for now, what you should leave. North Node represents what you should go forward, what you need to move forward, essentially. This is simple as hell for me. Thanks, Scorpio. All right. You need to move. Again, this is another message of just letting things end when they need to end. Relationships, situations, whatever the case is. You have the Strength in reverse, right? And then the reason why this is showing up, it's not telling you to, oh, I mean, yeah, it is a message of you to stay away from like, or not moving forward with being a coward, essentially, right? But also having the courage, what you need to have is more courage, is what it is saying. The courage to allow things to unfold the way that they are. The courage the courage in yourself to move forward from whatever situation. That lack of courage has caused, again, a chariot in reverse, has caused these things. I forgot who had the chariot. I think it was Virgo. You might have Virgo on your chart. Either or, who that lack of courage that you've been having to have things end, to allow things to end, like I said, with that tower in reverse, right? Is the reason why stagnation is happening. It's the reason why things haven't been going well for you. It could be something, again, a situation where you don't allow things to end because you're afraid of being lonely. I found that out to be, I think, and I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing. I think I got Scorpio in my 11th or 12th house. Nonetheless, it's not big in my chart. Like I don't have multiple Scorpio placements. It's in either one of those houses, and it's like I said, that's one of the last houses, right? Nonetheless, what I've noticed based off the Scorpios I've read for is y'all fear you fear loneliness, right? I don't know how else to put it. You fear loneliness. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad or anything, right? I think you fear loneliness and you fear being alone. What that might show up as is you maintaining relationships with people that the relationship is should have died. The person's no good for you. It might show up as you surrounding yourself with people who y'all don't really benefit. You don't benefit, especially, but just in general, they don't benefit from having you around. You don't benefit from having them around, but because you fear being lonely, and they could probably suffer from the same thing too. I don't know. But because you fear being lonely, you would rather deal with the the shortcomings of having them around rather than dealing with that feeling you get when you don't have anybody around. That's been a constant theme that I've noticed with Scorpios, not just this year, but just over the years. It's just my assessment of how Scorpios show up, how a shadow Scorpio shows up. Say that 6 times, right? But no, how a Scorpio shows up when they're not, when they're in their shadow mode, right? They show up as someone who is very much fearful of being alone, and they will knowingly and even willingly at times surround themselves with people who are no good for them, because being around people who they know aren't good for them is still better than being alone. But hey, like I've mentioned a few times before in this live, this is a year of completion. You got to dead that shit. It's showing up in your your south node for a reason. This has to end. And I don't know what's to come next. No fortune teller, like I said 50 times already as well. But what I do know is I feel, or at least what I do feel, is that things won't get better if you continue to just be in this mindset. I don't think things are going to work out in the way that you want them to if you continue in this mindset of it's better to be around these snakes and devils than to be alone. It's better to be a snake and or a devil and be around somebody who is willing to keep me in their life than for me to be alone and for them to realize I'm a snake devil, you know, and separate from me. Quite the rough run for as far as yeah, it is rough, but because I care, Scorpio, I'm gonna see if I can get some clarification on these cards here. clarify the strength in reverse, the chariot in reverse, and the tower in reverse before I move on to the north node. What we have is the. Did y'all see a ghost walk behind me? I feel as though I saw somebody just appear behind me. I don't know. I'm tripping out right now. Anyways, we got the Ace of Pentacles. When I ask for clarification, new ventures, abundance, manifestation as well. I think that's what you should look forward to if Scorpio, if you allowed yourself to, when I say allowed yourself to be lonely, I don't mean just not communicate with people, but not be surrounded by people that you probably should not be surrounded by. Or, yeah, being surrounded by people, but actually being around people who can bring all this abundance within your life. Again, what I've noticed is that fear of being alone will that fear of being alone will get in the way of your best judgment of people, or it won't get in the way in the sense of these people aren't good for you. But again, as I've stated multiple times already, you would rather be around people that aren't good for you rather than be alone. Whereas if you actually gave yourself a moment of solitude, a moment of not being around people, not being around just voices, you make room for the good in your life. This isn't like a situation I was saying with, who was it, Gemini, when they're blocking good people out, but also blocking bad people out. It's you crowding your life up with people, good or bad. But unfortunately, you know how the rotten apple theory goes, right? One bad apple is supposed to rot ultimately all that mold. And have you ever seen rotten fruit, just mold and stuff? Like, it starts off with one bad blueberry, right? The rest look fresh though, but over time the rest of that batch of those beautiful blueberries start to get moldy too. So it's like, ultimately, if you want to overcrowd your life with good and bad people, it's going to poison the good people. The bad people they're already poisoned. It's not going to make a difference, but it will make a huge difference within the good apples, the good fruit, the good people within your life. And you can't really get surprised or get upset if they get to a mode where it's like, enough, I'm ending things. And you're like, no, I don't want to end things. You got to be in my life. And they're like, no, because you got so many other negative voices here. You got so many other just terrible people around. I don't want to be around these folk. And they shouldn't have to deal with them folk because you have some fear of being alone. Now you're subjecting other people now to your decisions of having all these bad folks around you. Now they're being subjected to the BS, and when they don't have to and they don't want to. But if you, again, if you say, everybody got to get out this house, we're not partying anymore. We've been partying for 12 days, ain't done nothing productive, ain't nobody showered or nothing, stink up in here. But no, in all seriousness, it's like everybody got to get out. What you do is you make room for people who stick around and say, well, at least let me help you clean. At least let me do this. Let me bring some food. Let me make sure you get some rest. Those are good folk, But in order for you to even be able to run into those folks, you got to get that crowd out. You got to clear it out. You got to let these folks know, hey, we're done here. We out. You got to let these relationships in. All right. That was your South Node message. We're about to get into the North Node, what you need to look forward to in 2026, what direction or what you need to do to move forward in 2026 and going forward. I'd say none. Hey, I ain't no fortune teller, but I be having my times at times. You know what I'm saying? The Hermit. You know what the Hermit does? The Hermit is comfortable with being alone. Now, this isn't on some toxic, never connect with people. The Hermit goes within themselves and says, okay, what do I want? What do I desire? They have these conversations with themselves, with their God, with their spirit team, really, but just no other human voices around them clouding their judgment. And then once they're ready to get back out there, they are back out there in society amongst the people. They're ready to make those connections. Like I was saying, you really just need to give yourself going into 2026. You really need to give yourself some time alone. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else jumps out as far as the North Node goes. But let's see if we get at least one more. All right. Interesting. So you got the Queen of Wands that showed up, and also the King of Wands that showed up. So you got a good pairing. You got this is alignment. Had this king not been toxic, but let's start with the Queen first. All right, determination, warmth as well. This the Queen of Wands is someone who is very compassionate and very compassionate to themselves, to other people as well. But she's a determined queen too. She's a queen that is determined to get what she wants in life, to get where she wants in life. With that determination comes again a understanding and patience and warmth for herself, that there might be times where things slow down. There might be moments where there's a stoppage to some sort. Again, you have that Chariot in reverse. There might be moments like that, but you don't take it out. You don't take it out on yourself. Now, unfortunately, we do have again that King of Wands in reverse. Someone who just makes terrible decisions, a bad leader, terrible expectations as well. This is also the card of just unrealistic expectations in someone, but that's even worse than I forget the other tarot card that means that, um, but the king is even worse than that because the king is the ruler, you know, or at least one of the rulers. So when you have a ruler making unrealistic expectations, it's bad for everybody. Now, how that relates to you, Scorpio, again, you are in charge of who you have around you. You're also in charge of who you don't have around you, but you're also in charge of your own personal growth. And if you're going to continue being this person that surrounds yourself with people because you would rather surround yourself with people, good or bad, I should say good and bad, because you don't want to be alone, that's a problem. Again, you're going to continue to run into the problems that you ran into this year and what I've noticed in previous years as well. But as the Hermit says, if you actually give yourself time to be alone, to go within, to figure out why is it that I constantly feel the need to be around people, to have people around me, have all these voices around me. You have that conversation with yourself. You have that conversation with God, your spirit team. You'll find the answers you've been looking for. Trust me. You will find the answers you've been looking for. Not all this outside noise. All right. So that was the end of your North Node. We'll get into one last tarot message for you. And then after that, we'll do the Oracle card. And then I will end off your read, Scorpio, for this year. What are the final messages or message you have for Scorpio for 2025? Spirit, we have two cards that showed up. We have the High Priestess, and then we have the Ace of Swords. We stick with the High Priestess first. Intuition. Definitely is something that you will learn to listen to, listening to your intuition when you don't have outside voices all in your head, when you go in hermit mode. You're not surrounded by noise. So using your intuition to make the best judgment. All right. Next, like I said, we have the Ace of Swords, clarity. Breakthroughs as well, which is what I love to see for you. Rooting for you for real. So, it's really just a moment. That's all encapsulate a moment of you needing to actually just be alone for some time. I can't give a timeline. Again, I don't got a crystal ball. I'm upset that I don't got a snow globe. You know what I'm saying? Those little snowball things you can shake up, and I don't even got that. All right. All I want for Christmas was that. But anyways, and for real though, like you need to have some time to be alone for you to actually know what it is that you want in life. Because I feel as though even when you crowd your this is much deeper than you just being fearful of alone. I know that I brought that up, but I can go into I think a lot of the issues. In fact, you're giving me ideas on future videos, or at least future podcast episodes for you, Scorpio. Not to pick on you, but I think it's much deeper than you just not wanting to be alone. I think it's you not wanting, well, not that you don't want to make your own decisions, but I feel as though the fear of being alone, which is the base of all of it, has you in a mindset, or has you behaving in ways where you can't even think for yourself because you're too busy trying to be somebody else, trying to fit in, to the point where your thoughts aren't even your thoughts. You're just going based off what everyone else is thinking because you want to fit in, because you don't want to be alone. It all comes down to it at the end of the day. So we figured out what the base of the issue is, but there's other issues that's on top of your fear of being alone that need to be addressed as well. And it might be a situation where you have to work backwards. You have to take care of those issues before you focus on the base, the root cause, essentially, which is, again, your lack of being alone. But again, not to pick on you or whatever the case is, I am seeing a lot of growth here. Again, the High Priestess, the Ace of Swords here is definitely some growth happening. And it's a lot of you realizing, hey, this is how I've been moving for the past year, or even for however long I've been moving this way. And going into 2026 and beyond, I don't want to continue to move this way. And you know what I'm saying? Hats off to you. Salute. For real. But that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Scorpio. Oh, Scorpio. That's what I got for you. Hopefully you have a great rest of your 2026. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully your Christmas is great tomorrow. Whether you're watching this live or during the playback, please leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new. We are on to Sagittarius right now. So if you got Sagittarius in your chart, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you. Sagittarius, what's happening? This is your end of the year message. And as I've stated with the other signs, we're doing South Node, North Node, final tarot reads, and then oracle card reads. South Node symbolizes what you need to move away from. North Node is what you need to move forward, what you need to move toward, essentially. And yeah, so we're going to start with the South, what you need to let go of, essentially. Nothing else is really, I was about to say nothing else is really jumping, but You had some that jump. Let's see if we can get at least a lot of wands energy here. Whole lot of wands. All right. Oh man. So we start off with the for you, the four of wands in reverse. And I think what the problem is with the Sagittarius I'm seeking to is what you need to move away from is, I think, just negative thinking is what I'm seeing here. It's one of those situations where your 2025 may have been your negative thoughts making your reality, like your thoughts becoming reality. I say that because, again, with that four of wands, that's very much negative thinking, but also feeling unwelcomed. But you have the ace of wands here too. Ace of wands is someone who creates. Now, if you're having negative thoughts, well, that tells me you're creating these negative outcomes, you know? And maybe how you should have played 2025 out to be was to have more so positive thoughts. It could be in a situation in regards to your relationship too, since in upright, this is the card of unionship, marriage, belonging, essentially, right? Maybe you went through a divorce this year, but maybe that happened because you continue to just think about the negatives instead of the positives. I don't know if you're like brand new to marriage. I don't know how long you've been married, if you were married, but I feel as though you were like freaking out. This reminds me of a relationship, like my last serious relationship. It wasn't marriage, but it does remind me of that a bit. That it's not the whole story as to why we broke up, but I was the negative Nancy. I was the one constantly thinking about the negative. I was the one constantly on some what if this, what if that, thinking about the wrong that was happening. And then when wrong happened, I would, like a goofball, be all over the place, right? And it's like you kind of manifested that, bro, like with all that negativity and shit. That could have been the case for you. I'm not saying that to make light of your situation. I'm just saying that could be the case for you. What also showed up, or at least the last card that showed up, is the Three of Wands. I told you, all wands here. This is rapid growth, looking toward the future. Now, the reason why the Ace of Wands and the Three of Wands, I mean, yeah, the Three of Wands showed up, is because it's not saying that you shouldn't be mindful of the future. Is had you been one, again, the Ace of Wands is what you created. You created this mess per se of this situation here, you know, with your thoughts, your negative actions, even. You created that. What the Three of Wands is saying is maybe had you, had a more, again, positive mindset, it would have created more, abundance for the future, or at least growth for the future. Now, again, I don't know your personal relationship. I would only know the deets of all of that when you, if or when you were to reach out to me. You know what I'm saying? Again, check the pin comment if you would like that personal read. All right. But from what I'm seeing here, it's telling the story of somebody who may have caused a lot of the problems they were having within their personal relationship, or just throughout their life in general, especially during this year. And if you, I know it sounds, my thing is, here's my thing. I don't understand people who are into tarot, they like tarot, but then they also don't believe that their thoughts can shape their reality. I've encountered a number of people, And I'm only going off tangent because it's applicable to to you, Sagittarius. So it's at least applicable to your South Node read. I've encountered a lot of people who don't believe that their thoughts play a part into whatever happened, whatever unlikely and even likely, unsuitable or suitable situations that they found themselves in. They don't believe their thoughts played any role in that. It was all just happenstance, right? It was all in the cards, right? Come on now. Come on now. I appreciate the love and admiration for tarot, especially, that, it seems, I'm not saying that it's growing like crazy, but it seems as though people are being more so open to just the idea of spirituality. But with that, you have to understand that your thoughts are a part of your manifestations as well, right? So again, with that being said, in regards to the South Node, if you're thinking all these negative thoughts, you're in a relationship. Oh, she might be cheating on me. Oh, she might be doing this. Oh, he might be doing this and might be doing that. Oh, he gonna leave me. Yeah, that nigga gonna leave you. Who wants to be with someone that's constantly saying things and like that and like you manifested that? Now, if they cheated on you and you're like, they gonna cheat on me, I'm not saying you manifested because that was their actions, but you didn't make anything better by constantly on some, oh, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. They like no. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, as far as what you need to move away from, it's gonna sound cliche, but I've said this before. Some cliches are true. You know what I'm saying? And the cliche I'm about to say to you, Sagittarius, take it or leave it, is your thoughts become reality. You keep thinking these negative thoughts, whether that be in your personal relationships, whether that be in your life, your 2026, whatever happens in your 2026 happens because you thought about it. You made that happen within your mind, and then it went from your mind to your reality. If you want the opposite to happen, how about think positively? So it shows up positively going into 2026 and beyond. If you ask me, you should be proud that, especially the Ace of Wands showed up, but you should be proud knowing that your thoughts shape your reality, because that means whatever positive thoughts that you have, they're going to show up in reality. That's how I'd view that situation. But you do you. You're going to do what you want to do at the end of the day. What was that? Time number 1000 I said that, and I'm going to keep saying it some more. Anyways, we got your North Node cards here. We start off with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Ill fortune. Like I said, if you keep manifesting bad, don't be upset when you keep getting bad. Now, I don't think this is the universe telling you to keep manifesting bad luck in your life or bad scenarios. I honestly think with your cards, you're being warned more so than being, I mean, all of the cards are like a warning, but with you, I'm getting a sense that the universe is actually warning you, Sagittarius, that if you keep continuing on the path of just negative thinking, misfortune is going to happen. What the real plan for you in regards to what the universe wants you to do is sit on your ass and look pretty like the Empress. Just allow yourself to receive honestly. Now, the Empress does create as well. Like I think a lot of readers, I've seen a few readers, I won't say all of them, right? But I think a few readers forget that the Empress is a creator too. She's not just some pretty woman sitting down waiting to receive everything that she wants. She actually is creating as well. And it could be a situation to where like Yeah, and that Ace of Wands showed up again with that within your South Node. But that's a reminder that you have the power to create what you want, the outcomes that you want, the situations that you want. If you ask me, it's a double confirmation that you have more power than you're giving yourself, Sagittarius. And instead of giving your power or using your power for evil on yourself and your personal relationships, use it for good. Because it seems as though when I see these cards, you've been using it for evil. And I say evil because these are situations you don't seem to want to be in, right? But you keep thinking about it. You keep thinking about being in these situations you don't want to be in, and then when it happens, you're upset too. When you created that. So again, cliche as heck, but your thoughts become reality. And if you keep thinking these undesirable situations, they are now your reality because you kept thinking about them. The last card we have, King of Pentacles in reverse. This is someone who is shallow. It's also someone who is very much hedonistic. We're not even going to get into that, but yeah, it's in North Node. I kind of want to clarify why it's in North Node. Clarify why the King of Pentacles in reverse is in Sagittarius's North Node reading. You got the Five of Pentacles the Five of Pentacles. So feeling unwelcomed, hardships, uncertainty as well. I think I kind of get it. This creation of like the what if the bad outcomes that you are creating for yourself. I think there's a fear of uncertainty going on. There's a fear of uncertainty that you're having, especially in regards to your finances. Again, you have that King of Pentacles in reverse, and then you have the Five of Pentacles, it's finances, essentially, right? I think that level of uncertainty is causing fear. That fear is festering in your mind and now has showed up in reality. Why it showed up in your North Node. I think everything from the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and then from the two Pentacle cards that you have here that showed up, it all revolves around you being the Empress. What are you going to create? I think ultimately your North Node message is your 2026 is going to look like whatever you make it to look like to be. And yeah, you can say that for every sign. But I think this is really, really like Sagittarius is supposed to know this. Like this is a message that obviously you're getting now because you're supposed to hone in on your powers. Maybe because all of 2025 you kept giving your power away. Again, you was creating these negative situations in your mind, and then when it happened, you were, oh my God, this happened. You created it. Like, come on now. You was looking like Home Alone. You know what I'm saying? All surprised and shit. No, you ain't. You home alone right now because you didn't drove your partner away. All right, kind of fucked up, and I'm sorry, but you home alone right now because you created that situation. All right, literally or figuratively speaking, you're home alone right now because you put yourself in this situation. And to be as blunt but kind as possible, you have the power to shape your year to being however you want it to be. And I think you're being blessed. Excuse me. I think you're being blessed right now. You're being more so blessed than you probably feel as though you're being cursed. Because I feel as though every sign or everybody strives to get to a point to where they comfortably realize or comfortably are getting messages that they are the creators of their reality. Whereas you're getting this message right now. It takes certain people years to get this message or some time to get a message like this, and you're getting it right now. I think that's saying something special about you. And the sooner you realize that, I think the better your years will be. Whether that is 2026 or going forward. That was your North Node message. We're about to get into your last tarot message for the year. What is it? Okay. You got two cards that jumped out. We start with the Death card. Again, a releasing. With the old and with the new. Is that a transformation as well? And again, what's showing up, the 10 of Wands in reverse. Somebody else had this card. I forget who it was. Maybe you got that card. Got that sign in your chart as well. But this was their last card as well. Burnout, essentially. And I know this is a lot of what you're going through right now is a lot of mental burnout, just like with whoever had that as well. I said the same thing. It's a lot of mental burnout, which can lead to physical burnout because who the hell has the energy to get up and move and do something when you're mentally not there, when you're mentally just out of it? Maybe you can, Superman, but not me. But anyways, overall message, at least with the tarot, you keep going on this path. It's really like up to you at the end of the day. Like I said, you have the power to create that. And that's a message that I know a lot of people can get. But you're getting at now. And I think it's very much clear that the universe wants you, Sagittarius, to know that your year is as powerful as you make it. It can also be as miserable as you make it as well. So choose wisely. All right. Your oracle card is I can't read. Metamorphosis Mirage. All right. Y'all know I'm getting tired when I start stuttering over words. Embrace the tender transition between past forms and future possibilities, as illuminated by the transformative butterfly. I feel as though I was just telling you that. You know what I'm saying? With the Death card, when I said, let the past be the past, out with the old, in with the new. That's what I said. Double confirmation with the Oracle card. But that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. Overall, I think a powerful message for you. If you learn to just look at yourself as a powerful being who can create the outcomes that you want in your life and also create the outcomes you don't want in your life, that's power. That is power. And like I said, I was hinting at earlier, there are people who it takes them a lifetime, almost damn near a lifetime for them to realize that power. You are being told that right now. So that is what I have for you, Sagittarius. We are on to Capricorn. And yeah, coming down to the wire. My fabulous Capricorns. Sun, moon, rising. This is for you. All right, so we're doing South Node first, then we get into the North Node, then we get into the final tarot message, and then after that, to wrap up the entire read, we choose an Oracle card. South Node just represents what you need to get away from, what you need to leave, essentially, in 2025. It could have been a message, or it could be a message representing what you should have left earlier as well. But I'm here now. So we start off with the Hierophant in reverse. Like I said, my favorite card, whether it's in this position or upright. Now, from what I'm seeing here, I think there's a materialistic mindset that you're having that needs to end. If not materialism, it's more so how you obtain. I might need to clarify this entire read. How you obtain really just your wealth. I think I'm speaking. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, or at least leave that statement as that. How you obtain, there's a way that you obtain your wealth that isn't, let's just say, the most honest way. That reverse is reminding you or telling you you should be open to obtaining wealth and other means of fashion, probably more fashions that are more morally correct, morally aligned. Because that Hierophant showed up because I do believe you're not like some evil Capricorn out here that's just robbing and stealing and you ain't got no moral code. I do believe you have a moral code. I'm no fortune teller, but I do believe you have a moral code. I do believe in doing good by people, but you've obtained your wealth right now by not following said code. And I can tell you right now, based off the last card that showed up within the South Node, that can be very much problematic if you don't put an end to that going into the new year. So I'm gonna say, or I'm gonna say it like that. The reason why I believe that is the case is because you do have the Seven of Swords here. It's in reverse, which again does show a sign of remorse. It shows a sign of coming clean, going on a straight and narrow. But it's here for a reason. The Seven of Swords is here for a reason. And when the Seven of Swords is here, it's betrayal. It's someone who is a liar, a thief, a crook. When I was talking about them riches, that wealth, the Nine of Cups, you know, that's why I'm saying what needs to end is how you obtain your wealth. Now, it might not be as extreme as you being a thief or a scammer of some sort, but it could be you're doing something at your job that's not necessarily the, well, I mean, the example I'm about to give is thievery. Like you're stealing money from your job to get extra money. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, like maybe you're in charge of the finances, right? And you've embezzled some funds. Listen, I hope I am wrong. Capricorn, y'all are some fabulous folks, but y'all are not perfect. Nobody is. And there's definitely some Capricorn criminals out here. Listen, I ain't trying to get anybody locked up, but the tower is here. So, as I was stating when I picked up that Hierophant in reverse, I think you should think about some alternative ways. And when I say alternative ways, I don't mean other criminal ways. I mean, I think you should think about different ways of making your money. Because this is looking like some prison walls. Now, not saying that the prison wall is going to break down and you get to break out of prison and run. No fortune teller. Hella dramatic. That sounds like a story I would write, though. But anyways, you know what I'm saying, shameless author plug. But in all seriousness, when this shows up, this showing up meaning like things are gonna come crashing down. Like You may have gotten away with whatever this dirt may have been, this wrongdoing may have been in 2025 and even prior. I don't see it lasting long, any longer than 2026. It's the only timeline I'm putting on it. So if you want to remove yourself from that, and again, you do have that Seven of Swords in reverse. So it is someone who, and again, the Hierophant is here as well. So someone who does have a moral code. So I get the sense again, it's a Capricorn who understands that wrong is wrong. And they do feel bad about it. But if you continue on doing it and you just, yeah, it's not going to work out for you. That's, this is a yikes read. We almost at the end though. Oh, man. North Node. What should Capricorn look forward to? Hopefully not jail time, but what should Capricorn look forward to in 2026? Ugh. Listen, Cap, I ain't. We got two that jumped out. I'm gonna see if at least one more jump out after that. All right. The Five of Swords is damn near the same as the Seven of Swords when the Seven of Swords is upright. These are people, when these cards will show up, this is somebody who's willing to do dirt, essentially, to get what they desire. Then you have the Four of Pentacles here. This is someone who is very much one can call this cheap, frugal, someone who is a saver even of money. And again, I feel like this is a message of somebody doing dirt, stealing to obtain their wealth. And it's in North Node because I don't think the universe is telling you to keep stealing to get money. But if that's what you're being told to do, I'm going to tell you right now, you're being set up for to be locked up. Like you're being it's going to sound weird. It's got to be one of the strangest reads I've ever done ever. And it had to be for the fabulous Capricorns. That is crazy. That's unfortunate, but I got to keep it real with these reads. I'm not going to tell you this means sunshine and rainbows when it clearly doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is weird as hell. But I feel as though it's a situation where, like, you ever seen like those like prison documentaries or those like, well, if you ever spoke to someone who used to be incarcerated and they were like, yeah, getting locked up was probably the best thing that happened to me because before that I was on the wrong path and I really needed to have some time to, be to not be around those folks, right? I was just speaking to a former student of mine, by the way. I'm not gonna say her name and give away her business, but she I was at, I showed up at her job or whatever, or she does like she works for like public transportation out here, right? So I saw her one day and she was telling me about her brother because I used to coach her and her brother. I used to be a tennis coach, so I used to coach her and her brother. Her brother got into some like real like he was always constantly in and out of jail though, right? And it was one of those situations upon like, and he's out now, but he's getting into trouble now, getting into fights and all this other stuff. And it's like, it was a weird situation where it was like, dude was better off locked up because he was out of the streets. He was out of harm's way and all this other stuff. And I use that as an example with this situation here because it's like, From what I'm seeing with you, Capricorn, and I hope I'm not, and I know I'm not speaking about all Capricorns, but it's like, yeesh. Yeah, the last card that showed up is the Devil in reverse. Reclaiming control, independence as well. But I feel as though you need, but and when in order for you to even do this, there there's gonna be a moment where you lose control. And you know what I mean? When you get locked up, you don't have control. You don't have control over your schedule, your life. You do what they say. You eat what they provide for you. You go to bed when they say go to bed. You take showers when they say take a shower. Whatever activities they that you know what I'm saying, if it's rec time, right? You got to do the activities they provide to you, whether it's working out, playing basketball, or standing around, or running around a little square, or whatever the case is. Whatever activities that facility has for you, you don't have you have a choice in that way, but you don't have a necessary, like, maybe you don't like playing ball. Maybe you're more of a football player than a basketball player, right? Well, they're like, we don't got a football here, we got a basketball. So if you want to play a sport, you got to play that sport. Sit your ass down. Maybe you're like, oh, I'm lactose intolerant. So what, nigga? The only milk we got is lactose milk. We got lactate free milk. You gonna drink this shit or you not? You in our house. You in prison. You in jail. You ain't got a choice. You ain't got. I don't care if you're a vegan. You gonna eat this burger or you gonna starve. Sounds crazy, but again, it's like maybe it's a situation to where you need to lose control in order for you to realize, hey, listen, like, again, it's one of those situations like when you hear people say prison was the best thing that happened to me because it put me in place. It made me realize I was wilding out here, or it made me realize what I was missing, like what I can mess up, like the freedom that I had. I was jeopardizing my freedom of choice. I was being told when I can call and talk to family, when I can see the family. When I'm free, I don't have to abide by those rules. I was told what to eat, when to shower, what to do, what to wear, all this other stuff, right? What to watch on TV, everything, right? From where I walk to where I sleep, I had zero control over that. And it's like once I realized, man, I really jeopardized that for all of this. I jeopardized that freedom for all of this. It might be a situation where that happens. Unfortunately, to a Capricorn. To anybody, really, but this is, like I said, this is yikes, yo. But I gotta keep it real. I gotta keep it real. That was a north node. Yes. All of it seems very much south. That was your north node. You need to fall into some hot water for you to realize some shit, which is crazy. So the last tarot read, at least, that we have for you, the last message, it's the Eight of Swords in reverse, facing fears, taking control. Once again, you had the Devil in reverse, which is taking control as well. And this is another confirmation, double confirmation of you taking control of your life. I honestly, and I'm going to pray for you, like, and I don't take that lightly. I'm actually going to pray for a Capricorns that you heed that message of taking control of your life before some shit happens to where you get locked up. I pray that you don't have to endure prison or jail time for you to realize how precious your life and your freedom is. That all this fortune is not worth your freedom. I'm going to pray that you see that before getting locked up. But like I said, if you continue on the path, I don't see you getting away with it any longer in 2026. I'm not saying exactly at once the clock hits 12, and it's January 1st, 2026, them cops come knocking at your door, I am not a fortune teller. I'm just reading the cards, and what it says here is like, yo, like, you should have left that behind in this year. You should have left that behind probably in previous years as well, for however long you've been doing this dirt. And if you continue on doing it, you're not going to do it for not another year longer. In 2026, the wall's going to come crashing down. Not the prison walls, but the walls that pretty much house your illusion that, you know, you're unstoppable, you're untouchable. Yeah, man. Oh man. Yikes, Capricorn. I ain't going front. But we're here with the Oracle. Let's see what the Oracle has to say. And this wraps up your 2025 read. Hopefully, I don't have to make a sign that says free Capricorn, because yeesh. This is very fitting, though. Make a change. No, that's kind of hard to see, or maybe it's only hard for me because my vision is terrible. But make a change, embrace growth, seek new paths, and welcome transformations with an open heart. As I was saying right at the beginning of your read with the Hierophant in reverse, I think it's time for you to start thinking of new ways to, you know what I'm saying, to make your money. You know, make a change. And like I said, I pray that you actually make these changes and make the realization that your life is precious right now before you get it taken, your life and freedom. I'm going to keep saying freedom, right? Your freedom is taken away for some time because you got caught doing something you shouldn't have been doing. All right. So that was for Capricorn. That had to be one of the most eerie reads I've ever done in my life, yo. But we are on a Aquarius, getting down to the wire. I got to keep it real with y'all. I know readers who wouldn't have read that message. And to me, that's whack, because whether it's an eerie ass message like that or it's something super cheery, people got to know the truth. People got to know the truth. Now, not all the messages are going to apply to people, especially with these types of messages, but somebody got to know. Somebody got to know. If you withhold information like that, I'm speaking to the other readers right now. All right. If you withhold information like that, shame on you. That's all I'm going to say. Shame on you. Somebody got to know. Stuff like that, you got to let people know. No matter how eerie it is, you got to let folks know. Because you could possibly save somebody's life. And withholding that information, you thinking that's saving somebody's emotions, what you're really thinking about is your views, or your views at the end of the day, because you don't want to make that person upset, and you don't want that person to unsubscribe or thumb down the video or leave a negative comment or tell the people not to. You're thinking more so about yourself. I don't give a shit if a Capricorn was like, fuck this guy, he told me I should stop scamming. I'm trying to save your life. But if you're upset about that, then I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit if it means I'm trying to save your life. But I'm not going to withhold a message like that because you needed to hear that. It is what it is. Anyways, Aquarius, what's happening? Sorry, I just had to get that out the way. We're going to start with the South Node. We're doing South Node, North Node, any other final tarot reads, and then the Oracle. All right. Aquarius, we start off with the Queen of Pentacles. The South Node pretty much represents what you need to move away from. What I'm seeing here is, I'm not saying you should move away from making this money. You should be toward that for sure. But what I am seeing is, I think you should be. I was telling Gemini that they should be more open. Whereas I'm gonna tell you, I think you should be more so reserved on who you let allow have access to your finances, especially with that Queen of Pentacles showing up, but just you in general. I think maybe like who was it? Scorpio. You might Scorpio in your chart. Maybe like Scorpio, you are allowing people in because you don't want to be lonely. But just like with Scorpio, it's not going to do you good either. Now you have the Wheel of Fortune showing up, which again is great. But again, what's really concerning and why this is showing up with the South Node is you have Seven of Wands here in reverse. Again, not really defending yourself, not really having boundaries, essentially. And I think in 2025, you may have suffered some setbacks, albeit financially as well, because again, that Queen of Pentacles is here. You may have suffered a lot of setbacks, or just in the financial sector, your personal growth with that Wheel of Fortune, because you allowed the wrong people in your circle. You allowed the wrong people in your life for whatever reason. Again, it could be because of that fear of loneliness. It could be you thought they were someone that, would be beneficial to have around, but ultimately they're not. But going forward in 2026, it's really just having boundaries. I think that's the overall message for you, is to really just have boundaries on who you allow in your presence, especially and I'm gonna say it again, especially when it comes to your finances. And I'm not saying you're giving people like your bank cards and things of that nature. I'm seeing like you're being reckless, like you're spending money on other people, and they're looking at you as just, oh, I can just say, hey, Aquarius, I want this, I want that, and you just spending it on them, right? And that money could be, you got financial endeavors you need to spend that money on before you can go just giving it out to people or spending things on people because they asked, right? So that was the South Node. Quick and easy, pretty simple one. We're going into the North Node. What do you need to do more in 2026? These just came out. All right. We start with the Justice in reverse. It's not that you shouldn't be judgmental. I think you need to be a better judge, be more, and you got the Judgment here as well. That's your last card. I'll get to that when I get there, but I think you're really just being told to, like, you really need to be using your best judgment. Now, Aquariuses tend to, and again, this seems to be another recurring theme within this live stream, people not living in their truth, not living in alignment, which is causing problems. Aquariuses are usually great judges of character. They usually don't run into issues where they're allowing the wrong people in their life. But I feel as though this year, Aquarius, you weren't doing that to the best of your ability. And because of that, you have ran into problems. You've ran into people who are, let's just say, unsavory. People who have used you for your money. People who have, who can get in the way of your fortune, whether that be financial or in other ways. So using your best judgment in general is really just what you need to be doing in 2026 going forward. That wraps up the message. I'm going to show you the rest of the cards, though. You have the Eight of Wands in reverse. Again, do something about it. The Eight of Wands is here in general. The Eight of Wands, when it's upright, it's swift action needing to happen. In reverse, it's you doing nothing and the mess getting worse. I used the analogy earlier when it showed up of cancer. When cancer shows up in the body, if you don't treat it immediately, then it spreads, right? I'm not saying this is as serious as that. What I'm saying is if this is a problem, this problem of you not having boundaries, not using your best judgment. It's a problem that is liable to spread into 2026 if you do nothing about it right now. All right. And then, like I said, your last card being the judgment card here. You're being with that justice and the judgment again, to me, is a double confirmation that you need to use your best judgment when it comes to allowing people in your life who you allow have access to you. Simple as that. Again, Aquarius, great judge of character. See right through people like that. But there are times where y'all slip up. All right, that's my rising sign. So I know, but like there are times where you slip up, and it seems as though 2025 was a time where y'all slipped up and making that best judgment. And because of that, well, you find yourself having people in your life who may have caused some financial burdens, may have caused some roadblocks in your life in general, because these aren't people that should have been in your life to begin with. All right. Let's see, what other final message does the universe have for my high rising Aquarius? I was about to say Scorpio, but Aquarius. You might have Scorpio on your chart. Interesting. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. This is someone who fears their potential. So I think that maybe in regards to why you went against your best judgment, because you fear what that might look like to other people. Other people might perceive you as being how can I say it? Standoffish. You're afraid of being considered standoffish, being high acidity or something. Someone who thinks they're better than people. None of that is going to benefit you. Their judgment is their judgment. It doesn't matter. The people who are going to consider you standoffish because you are selective about the people in your life are the people who want to use you. People pay attention to the things people say, not just literally, but what they're really saying subconsciously and consciously, but secretively to you when they say things. If you are very selective about the people you have in your life and someone says, oh, you're standoffish, or you think you're better than people, or you're very just picky, what they're really saying is, I don't like the fact that you have boundaries, because those boundaries keep people like me out of your life. So I'm going to say and do things to make sure that you don't keep that boundary up, shame you into having those boundaries so you can lower them, so I can get in there and do whatever dirt that I plan on doing. That's what they're really saying. So don't even mind that. Don't even mind that. Don't even listen to that shit. All right. We're about to get into your oracle right now. And I'll wrap up your 2025 read. All right. What message do we have here for Aquarius? We have stand strong. Probably hard to see, but swear it does say stand strong. With defense as your shield, like I said, defense. With defense as your shield, find strength and perseverance guarding what matters to you. Guarding what matters to you. Again, what was that? That was like triple, quadruple confirmation, but nah. More confirmation that you should use your best judgment. You should live in alignment. Again, be the Aquarius that all Aquariuses, and not just Aquariuses, but we're on Aquarius, but y'all are great at doing. Judging the fuck out of people. In a good way, of course. In a way that is going to protect you and to protect others out there. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what I have for you, Aquarius. That's what I have. And we are on to the last, but not least. Everyone keeps telling, well, not everyone, but a lot of folks keep saying I should be with a Pisces because Virgos and Pisces go together, I guess. Anyways, what's happening, my spicy my spicy fishes? Let me read these messages. Crystal, what's going on? Good afternoon, Crystal. Appreciate the emojis. What's going on? Hopefully your holidays are going well. Happy Christmas Eve if you celebrate that. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Your son is a Virgo and you're a Pisces. Ah, shout out to the sun for having my son sign. I know he's a bright young man. All right, just because of that. And I know you great too. Baking and cake. Okay. What kind of cake? He's humble too. He's humble. I'm humble, but I be bragging sometimes. I need to learn from your son. You know what I'm saying? To be more humble. But yeah, we are on the Pisces right now. Strawberry cake, cream cheese. Ooh, Crystal, you gonna have me in this live right now and go to your house. Now I gotta get your read going. All right, so we're gonna start with the South Node, then we'll go into the North Node, and then we do one last tarot message, and then we wrap up the reads with the Oracle card. South Node is what you need to move away from. Pretty much what you should have done away from. It could be a message that of what you should have done away from previous years, but definitely do not drag this energy with you in 2026. But you can do what you want to do at the end of the day. We start off with the Chariot here. Now, keep going, definitely, but there's a lot of swords energy. Did I say that right? Yeah, there's a lot of swords here that I'm seeing right now. I think what you're being told to, and it could be applicable to a Pisces out there, where I think you may have really overworked yourself this year based on what I'm seeing here with the cards. I think you really overworked yourself to make up for, I want to say, somebody else's like lack or somebody else's shortcoming. Let me put it that way. Like you had to, like you felt, not that you had to, but you felt like you had to pick up the slack due to somebody else's shortcomings. And because of that, you have done a fair amount of damage to yourself this year. And that can ultimately stop your Chariot from going forward. Now, I say that for a number of reasons, but the next card that showed up is the Four of Swords in reverse. Again, this is burnout. You know, the burnout card that was showing up multiple times for the other signs that burnout showed up for during this live was the Ten of Swords in reverse, Ten of Wands in reverse. But again, this is more burnout. And again, I think this is where obviously the decline started, where you just need to, or at least this is where the message of what you need to move away from begins, is this aspect of you burning yourself out. And I want to say to even appease other people, or again, to pick up the slack. Pick up other people's slack. Your next card is the Ten of Swords. in reverse. Again, this is relapsing. Learning a lesson that is, when I say deadly, I don't mean that physically, like you're really like you're really gonna get fucked up out here physically, right? But I mean like a deadly lesson, like it's a lesson that again is a harsh one. Maybe it was a situation where you burnt out so much you ended up going having to go into the hospital. Maybe you got sick real bad or so. But it's like what I see here and what comes to mind is that saying burning the midnight oil. I know that's a term people usually use to celebrate or um to not celebrate but to encourage people to go all in, right? On whatever, right? Work from dusk till dawn, right? And not even past dawn, right? Um but it's like, and like I was saying, like I don't think this burnout is, eventually it's gonna stop you in your tracks. The last card that showed up for the South Node is the Five of Swords in reverse. Again, I do, like I said at the beginning, I get the sense all this movement you're making has to do with somebody else's shortcoming. I don't think this is you, but it's been a situation where you found yourself in. And like somebody else was the one doing dirt. Somebody else was, you know, I'm going to say this. I'm no fortune teller, but I feel like maybe this was a family member or a friend who may have been doing something dirt wise. Let's just say that. And you're like overworking yourself to make sure they're on the straight and narrow, which is admirable. But at some point in time, it's like, and I'm just using it as an example, but at some point in time, it becomes like you can't make their decisions for them. You can't live for them. This is crazy, especially because of that cap reading. But it's like they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Now, I don't get the sense that this person is going to continue on putting you through it, because in this position, the Five of Swords is someone who is, can be very much resentful for the dirt that they did. So at least the good thing, I'm hoping, is that they're very much sorry for putting you through all of this, and they're probably they probably seen you burn out. They probably seen all the anguish, mental or physical anguish that they put you through, and now they're sorry and they want, they're probably even wanting to make amends for it. But you're feeling like you got to work twice as hard. You got to work to provide for yourself, and now you got to work to provide for this other person. And I don't think this other person is someone who can't provide for themselves. I feel as though this is another grown adult who made the decision that they made because that was their decision to make. And although you two might be close, it is not your responsibility to get them back on the straight and narrow. I'm not saying don't help them out. I'm not saying that's what the universe is saying to you as far as this South Node reading goes, is to not help out that individual. Just don't feel responsible for their success. Don't feel responsible for their life turning out however it turns out to be. If they do something and it lands them in dirt, they did something that landed them in dirt, not you. If they are trying but they're not having success, that's not your problem. And I don't mean to sound harsh. I'm not saying, again, you shouldn't help them out. What I'm simply saying is you're not responsible for their success. You're not responsible for their recovery. You're not responsible for their bounce back. You can help out, you can do what you can. But what you need to get away from is feeling like you're responsible for it, feeling like you're the reason. Like if you don't do it, then they're doomed. Because in actuality, what's showing here is you're just dooming yourself. You're the one burning yourself out. You're the one going into these relapses, you know? Speaking of, I'm gonna say this one example, and then I'm gonna move on to the North Node, which you need to move forward. Um, Speaking of the aspect of relapse, it could be a situation where, again, no fortune teller, where this person is addicted to drugs, right? They're an addict to whatever they're addicted to. And yet, again, to keep them clean, to keep them on the straight and narrow, you're doing X, Y, and Z. But in a way, you're like addicted. You're an addict yourself, not in the way of addicted to alcohol or drugs or whatever, but you're addicted to maybe like helping them, or you're addicted to being of service to maybe this person or just people like them. And again, not to say don't help folk, but it's probably a situation to where you're actually doing yourself more harm by continuing to scratch this itch of being a savior to them or everybody in their situation, and which is causing all these this relapses that you're having. This doesn't describe their relapse, whatever that looks like. Describes your relapse. You're the one relapsing every time you go above and beyond and burn yourself out to help them out. So the South Node describes a message again of getting away of pretty much feeling responsible for that individual. You can love them, you can help them out, but you're not responsible for their actions. All right. We're getting on to the North Node though. So what you are, or what you should be focusing more so on in 2026 and going forward. Let's see what's that. Let's see if we can get at least one more card for you. Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of focusing on yourself because we got another card that is confirmation of burning out yet again. Yeah, we'll get there when we get there, but we got the 8 of Pentacles here. All right. So this is someone who is very much focusing on mastering whatever skill, mastering whatever they want to master, focusing on them, focusing on anything that they're passionate about as well, especially. Whatever you're passionate about, that should be the focal point of 2026. It is. And not anybody else. And I'm gonna say that not to say don't do for anybody else. Take care of your responsibilities, of course. Do for people that you are obligated to do for. Do for people even when you aren't obligated to do for them, but because you simply want to. But do not go above and beyond. Once again, feel responsible for those other folk. Again, this 3 of Cups is here to remind you that you need to be more so in a mode of solitude. This ain't the time to be, going forward. This ain't really the time right now to be focusing on who else needs my saving? Who else needs my help right now? You know what I'm saying? Nah, you need your help right now. Come on, Pisces. Who need you asking? Who needs my help right now? You need your help right now. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is the last card of burnout. 10 of Wands. It's funny because I mentioned that earlier, way before I even pulled it out. I said, hey, you have a card of burnout, which is Four swords. And I was saying, based off of this, and this is what, like the fourth or fifth time this has showed up, the Ten of Wands in reverse has showed up for other signs as well. So you're not the only one who has been burning yourself out, but you got two confirmations of burnout happening. And what you need to move forward with in 2026 is doing for yourself, focusing on whatever you're passionate about. You know what I'm saying? Um, not only get your mind off of trying to save everybody else, or you can look at it like this, right? You want to save people so much, focusing on your passion is going to save somebody's life. I'm going to use me as an example. You might be able to relate, you might not. But other than these tarot reads that I do, I am an author, right? If I were you in this situation, how I would view this situation is, if I wanted to save the world, I would save the world by continuing to write books, continuing to write screenplays, continuing to write stories that I feel are healing the world or going to save the world. That is how you can, I know people hate this saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. That is how you can kill two birds with one stone. You, one, focus on whatever you're passionate about, but also within doing that, you're very much saving the world, as it seems as though you want to do. So whatever your passion is, Pisces, view it in that way. Instead of burning yourself out, running yourself thin, trying to save everybody, literally, focus on what you can do, whatever you're passionate about, and do it with the intent of, it shouldn't always be with the intent of going full throttle. I'm going to save the world. But like, if that's a reason why you do what you do, then I ain't going to tell you that's a bad reason. Some folk are going to be like, well, that's arrogant. That's selfish. That's whatever. Tell them folks to mind their business and do whatever the hell they want to do. All right. They judging because they don't got nothing passionate about. They ain't got nothing to be passionate about. You do. And they judging because they mad. That's what their truth is. All right. So your last message that you got for the tarot, and this has been showing up a lot too, both reverse and upright, the Tower. I think a part of you, Pisces, you don't want to not focus on yourself for whatever reason. And I know my laptop is dying, but we're gonna get into it. You're the last sign, so we're gonna get into it, right? As to why we're gonna break this down. All right. Now, the reason why I think there's a reluctancy for you to focus on yourself is because I don't think you have much faith in yourself for you to achieve your goals or for you to be successful at whatever you're passionate about. But you do see value in yourself when you're helping other people, right? Maybe because they have let you know that how much of a help or how much of what you did really, change their life or whatever the case is, right? And that's all sweet and dandy, but that self-esteem got to come from you. It shouldn't have to come from other people. It shouldn't, especially people who you feel as though you gotta pick up the slack for. It shouldn't come from that. You should be able to create whatever you create, do what you do, and then look at yourself in the mirror or lay your head down at night or whenever you lay down and say to yourself, I'm proud of me because of me. Because that's how I genuinely feel about myself. Not because somebody else said something. You should be able to do that. And I think a big part of as to why there might be, like I said, a reluctancy to even let that side of yourself go is because you don't have that within yourself. You don't feel, you're not really proud of yourself. So there just needs to be moments where, like, before you even if it means before tapping into whatever passion you have, try to do some affirmation work, some self-actualization work, some stuff where it's like you get to um show love to yourself essentially, right? Let's see what the oracle has to say. Hopefully this helps out with you and see what message pops out. We have for you Pisces. Pretty fitting, right? Because you know Pisces is a fish and fish are in water. I'll shut up. Ocean of possibilities. All right. Navigate through we're gonna rewind that because my voice cracked. Navigate through the boundless ocean of possibilities, or where horizons whisper of untold opportunities, plentiful paths. It's all about having faith, definitely having faith in yourself, but all about having faith that you can achieve what you can achieve and what you are good at, what you're good at. It shouldn't have to come from people telling you you're good at it. It shouldn't have to, and I'm not, it's going to sound foul when I say this, but it shouldn't have to come from like lost cause folks telling you how much you mean to them or how much whatever you did for them means a lot. Especially if they're like, and I don't want to disrespect anyone, but if they're like addicts to some sort. If you ever dealt with an addict, addicts will tell you things. And I'm not saying they don't never mean the sweet things that they say, but they would say things to you to butter you up so you can continue enabling their addiction. Or if they were to ask you for something or do something like steal from you, you go back to those moments to where they were sweet and kind and you're like forgiving of them. That's going to sound harsh, like I'm saying, fuck them folks or don't forgive them. You have grace for them for sure. But again, like that grace that you have for them, you need to extend to you for yourself. And again, believe in yourself just as much as you believe in the people that you're trying to save. So that's what I have for Pisces. And that wraps up all of the tarot and oracle reads. End of the year reads for all of the signs. Once again, I want to thank each and every individual, whether you're watching this now or you're going to watch the playback. And once I got to charge my laptop first, but once it's charged up, I will update in the playback. I will update the timestamps, leave them in the description box below. So, I mean, yeah, in the pinned comment, so y'all can go check out. You know, you can go through each sign if you missed a sign or so. But I want to thank you all again for another year of me doing this. I know I haven't been as consistent as possible. It's life, it's a number of other things, but to see that people still get these messages, enjoy these messages, honestly, like it brings joy to my heart. I appreciate those who, again, have stuck around. I appreciate the new subscribers as well. Y'all are all special, whether you're a day one, whether you're a day 375 or whatever the case is, right? Seriously though, thank you. Appreciate you. Going into the next year, I'm definitely going to keep doing these reads. Yeah, I will say the next video of the new year, there's a fire truck in my neighborhood, but it's not going off. Sorry, distracted. But no, the next video will be a collective read for, it might be a short, it might not be. So be on the lookout for that, but that's not until next year. So with that being said, hopefully you enjoy your Christmas, your New Year's as well. Yeah, love and light to each and every one of you. Once again, thank you all for the constant support, the love, and y'all be well. Let's all win in 2026. All right. Y'all take care.